All right. All right. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Go, that boy don't go by the. Go by the light.
Can we hear me?
Yeah, we can. Good evening.
Oh, we can hear you.
Oh, great. All right. Once again, a very good evening to you, everyone. Many thanks for joining this conversation. It's a great pleasure that we are having you join us for the Yali 2022 Yali Learns Yali Chat session. Conversation with Mandela Washington Fellowship alumni and members. You know, now a few weeks or a few days ago, a couple of days ago, we had the Yali network announce the opening of the application for the Mandela Washington Fellowship Program 2021-2022. Can we hear me, please?
You can.
And so, as a way of trying to, get ourselves on track, with regards to knowing how to properly put in our applications, we decided to put up this program coming from Yali Network, Rivers State Hub. Yali Network, Rivers State Hub. Of course, when I say Yali Network, it's our River State Hub. You know that Yali has hubs, state hubs, yes, state hubs in the different states of the Federation, talking about Nigeria, and also in other countries, they have their state hubs. And what's the essence of the state hubs is to create the face-to-face, have this face-to-face experience or feel of members of Yali Network generally. Of course, you also know that Yali Network is already a flagship program of the U.S. Embassy that is under the Obama-led administration in 2010. Yes, and it's basically done online, except for the programs like the Regional Leadership Center, then the Mandela Washington Fellowship, which is up for which is up for which application is up for submission right now for us to drop our submissions and all of that now. First of all, my name is John Best Uche, and I am the coordinator Yali Network River State Hub. Yes. So once again, you're very much welcome to this call. And today we've got amazing persons, amazing personalities, Mandela Washington fellows here. They've done this thing, and it was just some of them when they put up application once, twice, it did not work. Meanwhile, I'm not saying everybody put up the application 3, 4 times or even twice. Some may have put it up maybe just once and they got selected. But some persons may not have really been so lucky to get that application accepted at a shot. And some of us that are participating in this call this evening or this afternoon or even this morning, because I understand that we are all joining in from different countries of the continent and countries of the world and all of that here. So here in Nigeria, it is evening, and by my time, it is about 8 minutes past 4 p.m. 8 minutes past 4 p.m. So some of us that are participating in this call right now, we may have put up applications once, twice, or even 3 times, but we were not selected. Like myself, I applied 2020, that is 2020, for the Mandela Washington Fellowship. I did not get it. I was not selected. In fact, I did. I just did it. Like I wasn't having a proper understanding of this whole thing, how it's maybe I didn't get a good orientation. So I just did a normal submission, like casually and all of that. But I didn't get selected. The only thing they did, the favor they did to me me was that they referred me, they directed me to the Regional Leadership Center program, which I actually put up for, and I was selected. So I'm actually an alumnus or an alumni member of Young African Leaders Initiative, Regional Leadership Center, West Africa, Accra, cohort 15. Okay, so for some of us that have put in once, twice, and we're not selected, I hope this call actually helps you. I hope the call helps you, guide you through, for you to make successful application for the 2021-2022 session. And so today, we're being joined, like I said, we're being joined with amazing personalities, Mandela Washington Fellows, 215, 217, even 214, I guess, and all of that. 2020, they're all here to share their experiences with us. They're here to share their experiences. That's okay. And then I hope this session is educative enough. Right here we have on the call, or we have to be joining us, Mr. Nwanyanwu Kingdom. Mr. Nwanyanwu Kingdom is the Mandela Washington Fellow. Meanwhile, I'm to be joined by Mrs. Olorufumi Adebajo, who's hosting the session with me. Mrs. Olorufumi, are you on the call right now? If you're on the call, kindly indicate.
Good evening, sir.
Mr. Olorufumi, Mrs. Olorufumi, rather, are you on the call right now? Oh, maybe she's not here yet. She's to be co-hosting the session with me. And then please kindly mute your mics, yeah? Kindly mute your microphones wherever you are. Kindly mute your microphones. When it's time for you to contribute, to speak, to ask questions, you're going to do that, okay? Let me try muting that now, since some persons are not allowing. So let me mute everybody right now here. Oh, excuse me, I'm trying to mute everybody. Oh, I'm trying to mute everybody, rather. Trying to mute everybody. Oh. Okay. All right, can we hear me, please? We're back. Can we hear me? Oh, yeah. If you can hear me, just drop your, I guess you can hear me. So we have been joined by, thank you. We have been joined by amazing fellows, alumni, members of the Yali Mandela Washington Fellowship. And like I said, we have here on the call, to be joining us on the call. They're already here, actually. I'm so appreciative of the fact that we're able to join this call even before so many of us here. And I appreciate some of us that actually joined before time and all of that. Yeah, thank you so very much. So to be joining us on this call, we have Mr. Nwanyanwu Kingdom. He is a Mandela Washington Fellow. All the people joining us here on this call, you can see the flyer on the screen. They are all Mandela Washington Fellows. So I mean, not waste much time calling all of that. So we have Ms. Esther Onyinyechi Mark. She'll be joining us. And then we have from Nigeria here, yes, Nigeria. And then we have Mr. Aruna Kallon, Mr. Aruna Kallon. Many thanks for joining Mr. Aruna Kallon. He's joining us from Sierra Leone. He's joining us, he'll be speaking with us all the way from Sierra Leone. And then we have to be joining us also on this call, Mrs. Ndifreke, Andrew-Essien, yes, here in Nigeria. We have Akachuku Okafo, also here in Nigeria. We have Barrister Timi Olagunju. Barrister Timi Olagunju. Yes, amazing. Thanks so very much, sir. I'll be having here also join us for this call, Roselyn Sachiti. Lady Roselyn Sachiti is joining us from Zimbabwe. Yes, she's joining us from Zimbabwe. Amazing. We'll be having Sini. Sini Yakubu Wufe. Sorry, Sini Yakubu Wule, rather. Sini Yakubu Wule will be joining, or Wule will be joining us today's conversation. And then we have our amazing Mr. Ebenezer Wikina. Mr. Ebenezer Wikina, yes, amazing. He is the latest here. He's actually the latest Mandela Washington Fellow right here because his fellowship just ended. That is 2020, 2020. And then we have Dr. Ucheoma Udoha. Dr. Ucheoma Udoha. All of them will be joining us for this call. They'll be joining us for this call. So I won't waste so much of our time discussing or saying any, speaking so much because it's going to be all educative. It's going to be interesting. By that, I mean, we don't want to do it talk. I'm not going to be the one talking because I don't have any experience about the Mandela Washington Fellowship. All I'm going to be doing here is to moderate the session. And when it is time for you to ask your question, you myself, I'm going to be asking my questions. When it's time for you to ask your questions, do not fail to ask your questions. Everything we're doing here is just to ensure that you succeed or your application, you get selected. Remember, I said it is get it right. Right? Listen, get it right to be one among the 700. Get it right to be one among the 700. Mandela Washington Fellowship 2021, 2023, they are looking for 700, about 700 fellows, leaders. Are you going to be one of them? Do you wish to be one of them? If you wish to be one of them, I wish you success as well. And then a part of the things that will make you actually get selected is what we are doing here, getting the knowledge you need, the needed information you need to actually put up your application and to be successful in your application. So what we're going to be looking at, I want to know what you should know. Yeah, the highlights now, what you should know. Writing a winning essay or writing a winning essay or winning, yeah, writing a winning essay. That's what we're going to be discussing. We're going to be looking at step-by-step guide or tips for a successful application. Step-by-step guides or tips for a successful application. We're also going to be talking about, standing out. How do I stand out? How does my application stand out? My essay stand out, to be one among the 700. How does my application stand out to be one among the 700? Okay, we're also going to be having a Chit-Chat. Yeah, after the sessions with the fellows, we're going to be having a Chit-Chat with them. Questions, you drop all your questions and then they are going to respond to all your questions, and it's going to be amazing. It's going to be interesting, and you wouldn't want to miss a bit of this session. Yeah, so are you ready for us? As we're about to get our first speaker, Barrister Timi Olagunju is going to be speaking with us. He's going to be speaking to us. He's going to be speaking to us shortly. Let me unmute him now, and then he's going to be speaking to us shortly. Yeah, he's going to be speaking with us shortly. Let me. Where is Barrister Timi? All right, Barrister Timi. Oh, okay. Your audio is unmuted, Barrister Timi. Okay, so let me get to take his profile. Let's get to say Barrister Timi's profile. I think you should have seen it by now because we posted it. If you've been following us on our post, on our updates, I think you also get to know much about Barrister Timi. Yes, should have known about. Okay, Barrister Timi. Barrister Timi Olagunju is a lawyer and a policy consultant with core capacity in open governance, civic influencing, digital policy. He is Africa's representative and global vice president on the Global Members Advisory Board at the International Republican Institute's Generation Democracy, that is IRIGD, representing the leaders and organizations across 70 countries. He is 2020 most influential young Nigerian in policy influencing. Why Niger? He also sits on the board of Feed to Grow Africa. Timi is a recipient of several awards for his distinction in policy influencing and civic leadership, including an award from the Oni of Ife and President and President Barack Obama. He is the co-founder Youth in Motion, YIM, and he ran for Federal House of Representatives in Ibadan North in the 2029 elections. Timi is a Mandela Washington Fellow, 2015. He has made several representations or presentations and conducted research on open governance, digital policy, and tech law, and has anchored, or rather, he has authored two books, namely The Hustler's Mentality, and Yes, Africa Can. Remember, I just said he has authored two books, namely The Hustler's Mentality and Yes, Africa Can. Ladies and gentlemen, with right now, you cannot actually clap, like you can't hear that right now. You can't hear that right now. Okay, we can hear that. Let's do something. Yeah, we're going to do something right now. Okay, we're gonna do something right now, right about now. Let me see. Kindly unmute yourself, and then we're going to, with a rousy applause, we're going to clap, we're going to welcome our guest, and that's how we're going to be doing it. So if you are on the call right now, unmute your audio or your device, unmute your device, unmute your device, unmute your device, and then once we go, we're going to call for that, and everybody we're going to receive feedback. So once you're muted your device, let me know. Once you've unmuted your device, let me know. So with the clapping ovation, let's make welcome our speaker, our first speaker for today, Barrister Olagunju. Let's do that. Let's do that more than this. We can do better than this. Unmute yourself. Put yourself on video now. Put your videos on. Put your videos on. Put your videos on if you're with me. Put your videos on. Please put your videos on. Let's make it fun and fun and fun. We're going to be learning with fun here. Please put your videos on. Let's welcome our first speaker for tonight. Yeah. Can you see me? All right. Thank you, Aruna. Mr. Aruna Kallon is clapping there. Okay. Barrister Timi Olagunju, the floor is yours. Thank you so very much for obliging to join.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. Basically, it's an honor to be speaking with, on this platform, particularly the fact that, the Yali Network Port Harcourt. It's important to state that the Yali Network Port Harcourt is the one orchestrating this and making this happen for Africa. That's awesome, So the Yali Network Port Harcourt is no more local Yali Network. It's now a continental Yali Network. Well done.
Thank you.
Congratulations to the executives and all those who have laid the foundation for this. So interestingly, I wanted to put on my video, but I don't want anything that will give an excuse for network to do what is good at doing best, where I am at the moment. It's because I know that we have a list of very key speakers that will touch on several subjects from their point of view.
Sorry, Barrister Timi. Sorry for cutting you here. So sorry for cutting you. Okay, well, we'll be giving you 15 minutes. So you share with us, 15 minutes. Yeah.
15 minutes, okay. Okay, yeah, I 15, hope I'm able to then use that 15 minutes to share for 10 minutes, so that by the extension, if there is an overflow of the ocean of words, it will end up in 15 minutes exactly.
Oh, great.
Thank you. So basically now, interestingly, the Mandela Washington Fellowship is one very key opportunity. As you all know, it is one opportunity that allows you to have the fold of learning and learning from institutions that pride and distinguish themselves, in specialized knowledge, because there are different tracks. And so one good thing is that you're learning not just from a specialized faculty, but you're also learning from people from across Africa who are doing something similar to your track. And that is one other part of it that is unique, which is networking. I was at the 2015 Mandela Washington Fellowship, and I met phenomenal people at the presidential precincts. And interestingly, the relationship still extends just even beyond that time. Imagine 2015, but even this very week that we are entering, some board members of the presidential precincts are going to be in Lagos from the States, and they want to have a small dinner, at a hotel in Lagos. Can you see how phenomenal? Just in a 6-year period, we're still having relationships, across board. How about relationship with members of the network itself, awesome, phenomenal people. And so it's an important opportunity to put in your best into, right? And the good thing about the Mandela Washington Fellowship is that, look, you can put in your application, get in or not get in, but you can also use some of the things you've learned to apply for the Yali regional program, right? Which happens across different regions across Africa. I know someone that applied for the Yali regional program, and then after getting it, applied for the Mandela Washington Fellowship and also got that. Awesome. And so it's important to put some energy, some effort into this. And that's why this is commendable. So quick one. One of the first things you need to understand about the Mandela Washington Fellowship is that, like every other program, the organizers have an intention, right? And that intention is what mirrors the program. And so, for example, when you wake up in the morning, you want to go out, the ladies will check the mirror, see if the makeup, the mask, etc. fits in well, right? Adjust everything adjustable. The men, at least if there is no makeup for, men that is that popular as such, in terms of use, the men will try to comb or brush their hair. Those of us who have beards, the beard gangs will try to put their beards together and put everything in shape, get the tie in proper perspective, so that north will not be going south and south will not be going east, right? And so what you're trying to do is prepare. Now, how do you mirror the Mandela Washington Fellowship when you're applying? One of the key tips quickly is the fact that it's important to research. Inquire what you require from those who have acquired what you desire. And that's the fundamental truth. Research. Find out what is necessary, what is the mindset of those who orchestrated this program. You can even go as far back as watching the videos where President Obama himself explained the program and the motivation behind the program. You can also go to the website of the Mandela Washington Fellowship or Yali, Yali Africa, and then start to read through. This is all before you even start to apply. Start to have a peep, an expo, like we like to say it here, an expo into the minds of the organizers. And so by the time you have an expo, you have a perspective of what they're looking for. And then you can put in the application, right? So in terms of perspective of what they're looking for, I can share a few of these expos, but it's important that you find it out for yourself. And one of the key expos is that they're looking for leaders, and not just leaders, potential leaders, people that have shown a commitment not to just be about me, but people that have shown a commitment to change me, the M in me, and turn the M upside down. So instead of me, you have we.
Oh.
People that have inspired at some level, whether you've inspired your nation, you've inspired your community, you've inspired a few people around you, your ability to articulate that is important. Someone once said that define a leader, and the definition people gave is a fantastic definition. However, in summation, a leader is a dealer in hope. Let me borrow what my Hebrew brothers would like to say, importer-exporter. So I would say that a leader is an importer and exporter of hope. And so how do you resonate hope in your application? It is very important. How do you show that you have done something in some consistent way? It's important. Now, let's talk about consistency. Now, it's important to also note that in terms of consistency, it is important that, sometimes, for example, we in Nigeria, we can do 4 things, 5 things together. We can be in the business of importing cars, in the business of, lawyering. Nigerians, and I think it's typical too of some parts of Africa. Now, the point I'm trying to drive at is this. Don't put in your application that you are somebody in healthcare, and then the other parts of your examples in your application that shows your leadership is something else in, lawyering. There's no consistency, right? So if you say you've been a civic leader, you need to show a consistency that you've been a civic leader, right? Don't come and bring in other elements that will now confuse the reader. Not to have a flow, because the essence why they ask so many questions is because they want to detect a flow, right? Because they want to invest in people that have shown a consistency. For example, you're a civic leader. They want to invest in you in such a way that they know that, okay, this person as a civic leader is somebody that if we put one, like the story of the talents, one can become 2, not the person that will go and bury their talent, right? And so it is quite important to understand that logic. Now, when it comes to the logic about introducing yourself, it is quite key to know that introducing yourself, for example, if I say, introduce yourself in 2 words. Can we have, we have 68 people aside myself here. Can we have, some exercise here? Just type in your message, but don't click enter. Just type in 2 words. Introduce yourself in 2 words. Introduce yourself. Type it in. Don't press enter until I tell you to press enter. So I'll give us 1 minute to try that. 2 words, just 2 words. Motivational, inspiring, innovative, social, in 2 words, just tell us what sums you up as a person, what makes you tick as a person. Don't press enter yet, just type. I'll tell you when to press enter. Yes, we have 20 seconds left. We have 20 seconds left. 20 seconds left. 20 seconds left. Okay, now click enter. Let's see them flowing in. Let's see it flowing in. Yes, okay, good. Disability activist, creative, innovator, visionary, and okay, pragmatic leader, enthusiastic advocate. Now, you see these key pointers, you call them keywords. Note them. Have a few keywords. I can see them flowing in, right? And stick to your narrative around those keywords. Stick to your narrative around the keywords. So when they ask you the question, introduce yourself, ensure that you're introducing yourself are ground. So you need to introspect. Like someone asked Socrates, what is the most important secret to life? And Socrates laughed and said, young man, know thyself. And the person said, what does that mean? And he said, look, know thyself. For until you know thyself, you can never become thyself. And so one of the key things about this is to introspect. Take a book out, start to write where you have done some things that you've forgotten. For those who have kept a journal of their life, it is much easier. You don't have to have started an organization. You might just have been a volunteer. I remembered one of our cohorts in Nigeria was a volunteer, a serial volunteer, in health care. And it was the volunteering work that he did that he aggregated together to apply for the Mandela Washington Fellowship. And the interesting thing, he was even not 25 at that time. He was a year or two younger than 25, and he got in because he showed consistency in whatever he was doing. And so let me round off, because I know that there are other speakers that will touch several issues, but I hope that I had awakened something in you that is able to make you introspect, to bring out the evidence around you, the examples of the work you've done, evidence that can back up, as you write, the consistency in your words and in your work, because evidence is the end of argument, and you can always provide evidence through examples. So thank you so much. Over to you. Thank you so much, Mr. President, for the invitation, and congratulations to Yali Port Harcourt for making this happen for the continent.
All right, very many thanks, Barrister Timi. Please, somebody's clapping. Let's do that. Unmute yourself and clap for the speaker, Barrister Timi. Olagunju. Please unmute. Everybody, unmute yourself. If you can put on your video, please do that. Unmute yourself, put on your video. And let's give a round of applause. Amazing. Thank you once again. So many thanks for that insightful and that interesting eye-opener there. You've just summarized everything for us. You just told us everything. Now research. You have to research. We have to research. That's key. To research. Let's get to find out about what the Mandela Washington Fellowship, the team of the Mandela Washington Fellowship, what they are looking for. What are they looking for in you? What are they looking for in me? What do they want to see in me? What do they want to achieve through this program, MWF? And for us to know that, for me to know that, for you to know that, you must research. Yes, our speaker said what? You must research for you to know what the Mandela Washington Fellowship team wants to achieve through the program. We must research. So research. Another thing, he gave an expo. He said they're looking for leaders. Now, some of us may not know what they're looking for, and then he went straight to telling us that they are looking for leaders. They are looking for leaders here. Okay, and then he talked about consistency. Consistency is very key. So are you consistent already, or within the about 18 days left for the application to be closed? Are you going to is there anything you could do to have a consistent record of your activities? Now, I'll put you up there. No problem. So do something about that consistency. So once again, many thanks for sharing with us, Barrister Timi. Okay, right about now, we want to have Mr. Aruna Kallon. Mr. Aruna Kallon is actually joining us from Sierra Leone. Let's have his profile here. Let's have Mr. Haruna's profile. So permits me to show that on screen. The Mandela Washington application 2021-2022. event here. So I hope as he shares, you got a whole lot from this session, and then you get yourself prepared. You get me prepared for this application actually. Okay, sorry, I'm looking for Aruna's profile to read now. So hold on. Oh my, ah, hold on. I'm sorry. Let me get that. Yeah. Oh, Mr. Haruna. Okay. All right. So, Mr. Aruna Kallon is a PhD student at the University of Wisconsin-Madison. Aruna holds a master's degree in sustainable peace building from the University of Wisconsin Milwaukee, a Bachelor of Law, LLB, and a Bachelor of Arts, BA in English from Fura Bay College, University of Sierra Leone. Aruna was previously a Mandela Washington Fellow of the 2015 cohort. He did his fellowship at the University of Virginia, the Presidential Precinct, and he interned with the National Endowment for Democracy, NED, in Washington, D.C. as part of his professional development experience. So, ladies and gentlemen, are you ready to welcome our guest speaker for today? Oh, the second speaker for this session, Mr. Aruna Kallon. Please, let's put our hands together. Let's welcome our speaker. Please, let's together as a microphone right now. Please make it louder. You can do it better than this. You can do it better than this. So, all right. Thank you very much for obliging to join this call, Mr. Aruna Kallon. How are you doing over there? I understand this time should be about almost 11 a.m. or in Sierra Leone. You told me some time ago you have, so as at the time I reminded you, that was 7 a.m.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. President. Actually, the time I was referring to, I am actually, as you have read in my bio, I'm in school right now, so I am in Wisconsin in the US. So that's what I was talking about. That's why I said the time, because Sierra Leone is just 1 hour behind Nigeria, but over here it's way different. That's what I said. So yeah, the time zone I am in actually is in the US. That's what I mean. Because I am in school, I'm still in school. Yeah. But
amazing. High school and schooling there.
No, it's absolutely okay. That's what Wisconsin. I must say definitely it's going to be done. Look out for me making an impression, because it's going to be hard to make an impression going after Barrister Timi Olagunju. So, and I'm so happy that I am actually going after him, because he has made it very easy for me. And in fact, I want to start by saying shout out to you, the barrister, and it's an amazing opportunity for me to see you again. I mean, we always connect, like you said earlier, we're still in touch, but it's good to really be in a forum with you. So I'm very much opportunity to be here. So I'm happy, and I want to really start by saying, indeed, Barrister Olagunju has said some of the most important things that every one of us need to know in this program. And that's why I say he has done the groundwork for all of us. I would just have to add things of color to the sketches that he already made. So I want to start by emphasizing that this fellowship, and I'll try to definitely give you my own take as to because I think the most important thing we're trying to do here today is to tell people from our experience and from what we've learned, but before going in and being there and then after coming out. And we've been continuously engaging in our experiences. So, and then to really tell you what we think the fellowship is looking for in you, it's looking for in somebody that should become a fellow. the Mandela Washington Fellowship. That's all. So we may say so many other things, but that's the primary focus. So if you will be taking notes, I think if I were you, that's the kind of thing I will be taking notes on, like what is required of me, especially at the stage at which you are now, because you are trying to get in. So there are so many other things that we can talk about in the fellowship. This, what we're saying here is just snippets of what actually there is to say. But this is, we're trying to limit it to what is relevant to you at the stage that you are now, you're trying to get in. Hopefully once you get after that stage, for example, say you put in your application, you qualify for the semifinals, the interviews, and then I know we are always open, and I know that Mr. President also will come around and be able to maybe put together a program. So we can always come back and talk about that. But at this stage, it's actually focusing on what do you need to do to prepare very well to get in, because it's highly competitive. So to start with, I want to emphasize a few things. One, just bear in mind that this is not a lottery. It is not, because the reason I'm pointing this out is sometimes, like Timi was talking about, when you put in your application, when you're applying, try to have the audience in mind for anything whatsoever, be it the Mandela Washington Fellowship when you apply to grad school. So I'm in graduate school now, or what we call postgraduate school. So done a lot of applications. So when you're applying, try to have the audience in mind. Think about it, who is going to read what I am writing? And so that's what I'm pointing out. Like, it's not a lottery. It is all about merit. And it's highly competitive, meaning there are thousands of people yearning for the same opportunity, and there are thousands of people who are as qualified as you are, who are as passionate as you are about what they are doing, who are as experienced as you are. So that is what I mean by being very highly competitive. However, that being said, that should also not be a reason for you to stand back and say, hey, I don't think I'm ready yet for this, or I'm just going to do it, I'm just going to try. That's why I said earlier, don't see it as a lottery, because then if you think it's a lottery, they say, oh, I'm just going to try, maybe I'll be lucky, right? So once you approach it that way, that is the beginning of really, I don't want to call it failure, but it's making it difficult for you to get in. If you approach it believing in yourself, the fact that I said it's competitive doesn't really mean you don't deserve to be there. So always tell yourself, yes, you deserve it. You deserve to be there. Everybody that's in the fellowship, everybody that can go. At the table. So it's everybody. It's not like there's nothing special about us. It's just that we took it seriously. So my first advice to you is, it's serious business. Take it seriously. Don't approach it as a gamble or as a game, as a lottery. Say, let me just apply, maybe, who knows? No, if you approach it that way, because they take it really seriously. Your application is put through scrutiny. It's every bit of it is read. Every single word that you write on the paper is read by somebody. To pray about something, yes, I also do that. Of course, committed to prayers when you do, but don't think it's all about that. Put in your best, everything. Do not hesitate to write anything that you know that it's your experience, that it's your knowledge that you've done. So you deserve it. You deserve to be there. Always approach it that confidence that, yes, I deserve to be here myself. Once you do that, put in your best. And it's definitely, there are no connections needed for you to get in. That's another thing I want to point out. No connection. It's not like other places where we apply to and then we need some political connection, we need somebody in the embassy. No. So I'm saying this because to give you confidence that anybody, you can get in. All you need is you and the application. All you need to sell yourself is your application. So you don't need anybody to really like connect you to anything. So it's basically that strictly by merit. And the last point, the last thing I'll point out is stand out. Stand out. And indeed, Timi also said this. You just have to make sure you stand out. You are already a leader. And the fact that you're doing stuff in your community, in your area, in your organization, you are a leader, or you're working, even if you're working for government, you are in a leadership role. So I think the word leadership is going to come up so many times, and you should already start using it. You should already start seeing yourself that way, because that's what they are looking for. And leadership is not just somebody who has a title, like in our societies. The first impression we have when we say leadership, we tend to believe it's, someone who has X and X title, someone who is managing director. No, you don't have to be managing director. You don't have to be the president. You can be, that's definitely leadership. But leadership also, see yourself as a leader, even if you are doing anything that contributes to changing lives, contributes to changing the narrative of your community, of your organization. It could be your organization. It could be that you came to your organization, leadership. Don't hesitate to put that in your a leadership skill to share. Anything that you've done that created change or that actually made something better, that's leadership. Or even just you working with people. The fact that you're doing your job, what you are assigned to, you're doing it very well, diligently, that is leadership. So I think leadership is about doing. Leaders are doers. And that brings me to, I'll just now want to point out a few things which I actually, so what I did last night is I went into the application system. I attempted to, I pretended I am applying so I could get access to it. And I downloaded, there's a PDF, you can download a PDF where you can see all the questions and prompts for this year. I did that so that I get a sense of, because I think it changes every year, but very little. So it's good that I did that exercise to get a sense of what the questions are like this year. And indeed, I was able to download the PDF to look at them. And you can do that. Anybody can do that. You go there. Of course, they're going to ask you to create an account as if you're applying. I did that. Of course, I pretended I'm applying, of course, so they could let me in, create the account. And then once I did that, I look at the questions.
Kindly mute yourself.
Yeah, there's some background. Okay, I'm sorry about that. So the reason I did that, I really wanted to use that.
I'm sorry.
I wanted to use that to comment.
How much are we getting?
Comment on some of the things that we want to point out here. To be as specific as possible, because that's what we want. So I want to quickly go through them, and not the questions, but go
distractions at the background, and we that are jotting down, it's affecting us.
It's okay. It's okay. So sorry about that, Itruka. It's done now. It's done now. So sorry about that, Mr. Aruna.
Yeah, it's all right. Yeah, this is it's the new normal. I mean, always Zoom calls. We always have troubles like that, but thank God. Yeah. So yeah, we'll go on. So I was saying, before I get to those sample questions, and they are actually real questions. So before I get to talking about them quickly, I also want to talk to you, just like Barrister Olagunju said, we are going to try to talk to you on different issues, but it will all build around the same thing. Like, what do we think you should be putting out? What are they looking for? So I want to talk from the point of view, assuming like from the point of view of someone who, also maybe I should state, I have been a teacher before. Even now, I am in graduate school, but I am also a teaching assistant. So I kind of put myself in that shoe, say, if I were reading somebody's application, what would I be looking for? Or what do I think from the point of view of an examiner? What would they be looking for that I know? Because I also have this experience. So I want to talk to you quickly about that and point out some very specific things. One, I know they're looking for someone who will demonstrate commitment to public or community service or volunteering or mentorship. And all of you are doing one of these things, one or even more of these things. So how do they know that you have demonstrated that in your application? It's simply by you talking about it. There's no other way they will know. So we're not saying you have to, I mean, they're not asking for videos, say, hey, can you prove to us? No, you have to tell them. So that's why I'm saying, do not hesitate to talk about, do not make your application to look very much theoretical. Make it as practical as possible. So what I mean by that is, for example, I can say, oh, I am a peace advocate, I am a gender rights advocate, I believe that women have the right to take decisions as much as men. I believe that women should be included in lawmaking as much as men. That is fantastic, but that should not take a lot of space in my application because it's all theoretical, it's idealistic. So while that is important, I think I'll make more sense, I'll make more meaning. I believe in gender rights. So I founded an organization that actually works with women who I work with a group that trains young girls in basic human rights. I work with women, we train these women to know their rights, to know how to advocate for themselves. I do course monitoring. We basically monitor gender-based violence. So in that case, that is more meaningful to anybody than the first thing I said. I just said, oh, this is what I stand for, I believe in this. So that's highly theoretical. Whilst it's important, do not spend a lot of space and time on that. Maybe it should be one line to say why you're doing the work. The rest of it should go on to say, this is what I've done about it. This is what I'm doing. So they're actually looking for what you are doing, not what you believe in, what you stand for. It is good to know, of course, but maybe just use one line to state it. The rest of that should now be an example of how you demonstrated that. This is what makes a very strong application. Because everybody, it's easy to just have, the opinion or just be an advocate. So yeah, I'm an advocate. This is what I believe in. I stand for this. I believe that there should be inclusion. But once you say that, don't let that take a lot of space. Make sure what takes more space is you giving an example of how you've done that. Is be it in your organization, even if you're just an employee, even if you're working in government, always just say what you're doing or what you've done. I think that makes more impression. So they're looking for that word, demonstrate. Have you demonstrated what you're talking about? And it's only through your application that they will be able to know. And they're also looking for somebody who demonstrated commitment to return. And this is a very interesting part. It's tricky because I know, you and I know, of course, that we are all looking for opportunities. It is not a secret that we are all looking to get out because of the certain situations in our countries. So it's very much understandable that we are praying and working hard and looking for these opportunities to get out, right? But always make sure, like I said, have the audience in mind when you approach something. What do you think they want to hear? What do you think they want to know? Young African leaders, give them this application. Do not, whatever is on your mind, fine. Make sure you demonstrate your willingness the skills that you gain from the fellowship. This is where you have the opportunity to demonstrate that you want to come back home and work. That makes you stand out. Whether you have any other plans, please make sure in your application, make it come out that you want to return. So I want to get these skills. I'm already doing this work. I am sure that when I working together with them, interacting with them, will really boost my skills in what I'm doing right now. So I'll come back home and be better at what I'm doing. These are some of the things. That is demonstrating, and you'll be very specific. you probably have some skills where you want to hone on those skills. So that's the other it's optional, but I encourage you to also go in for it. And the other thing they're looking for in your application is, have you demonstrated interest? Have you demonstrated professional experience? Have you demonstrated knowledge of the things that you're claiming to want to do? So there are 3 tracks in the fellowship. We have, please, Mr. President, just prompt me when my time is running out.
I think let's give you 3 more minutes, yeah?
Okay,
3 more minutes.
Great, awesome. So demonstrate these things, like you will have to select make sure you demonstrate that in your application. That's what they're saying here, that knowledge or interest in that track. So do that as well. And proving record of leadership, accomplishment, these are also very good things that you should make sure they stand out. And something you should also always make sure it stands out is your ability to co-work, make reference to how you've worked on teams, how you work with other people, how you've collaborated, how you've created programs. How many times have you been done best Uche? How many times have you done something like this, brought your own initiative, bring people together, help them achieve something they want. So these things, just limit your application to real things, not imaginative narratives. It's not an exercise in language arts. It's definitely just what you're doing. Also, finally, I will stress that the way you take your application seriously, part of it is making sure you really read over what you are writing. Read over it before you submit. Make sure you edit, proofread, because the first impression they get about you is your application. So if it's not very good, you may have a lot of skills, you may have a lot of potential, but you may still not get in. So the door for you is the application. That's how you get your foot in the door. And then you go to the interview. Then in the interview, of course, all you need to do is to remember everything you wrote in the application. You will stand out, but the application is what you take really seriously. Make sure you make an impression and don't just treat it casually. They say write substance in there. So like I said, it's not a lottery. If you treat it seriously, it will treat you seriously, honestly. And I'm happy to be here with you guys. And I said again, if you have a chance, take a look at all the questions. Maybe you paste them in Word, try to answer them on your own, revise them before you paste them in the application. That will help also, because now you have an opportunity to do that. Thank you very much. I'll still be around and continue to interact with you.
All right, so everybody thanks Mr. Aruna Kallon. So everybody, let us put our heads together for our speaker. So kindly unmute yourself. Do not forget to also mute yourself after now. So let's all right, you can do it better. You can do it better. Okay. All right, very many thanks once again, Mr. Aruna Kallon, for that beautiful session there. Key amongst it is that now it's not a lottery. It's not actually a lottery. That is, it's not. If you deserve it, you'll be given it, right? It's not a lottery. It's if you deserve it, you'll be given it. And now, like he also said, it's not about connection. Like we know here in Africa, we depend so much on connections and all of that. Oh, I don't have a godfather in that place. I don't have anybody that would actually help me through the process, that will actually squeeze my name into that thing there and all of that. He said, whether or not you have anybody there, that's not actually So it's about you deserving it. It's about what is expected. But he has stated so many of them, yeah? He has stated so many of them, volunteering and all of the commitment to community development. And apart from commitment to community development, are you also committed to return? Like once you're giving that, if you're giving that to giving back. That was one of the things he mentioned. So I stopped there. I'm stopping there right now. Before I bring, we still have Lady Freki, we have Mr. Ebenezer Wikina, we have Lady Esther to actually share. We have then we have Roslyn, Roslyn Sachiti from Zimbabwe to share with us still. So right about now. Meanwhile, Barrister Timi is still on the line, and Mr. Kallon is still going to be on the line with us because we're still going to be asking questions. So I'm going to take, before Mr. Wikina comes up, I'm going to take a lady this time around. I'm going to take a lady this time around, and this is going to be Lady Ndifreke, Andrew-Essien, Lady Ndifreke, Andrew-Essien. So let me get her profile on, and then we get her, or we get to welcome her officially. So let me get her profile on first of all. Okay. Lady Ndifreke, I hope you're on the line. Yes. If you're on the line, signal, so we'll get to know. All right. Right about now, Lady Ndifreke. Oh, great. Ndifreke Andrew-Essien, also known as Freki, has over 12 years of experience in civic leadership, volunteering, and working in communities in different program-related areas in the non-profit sector. She founded Freki Andrew-Essien Care Foundation, well known as Fair Care, or Far Care Foundation, a non-profit organization with focus on working with vulnerable groups in communities, providing step-gap support service to these vulnerable groups, vulnerable children, persons with disability, youth, less privileged, and communities. She is the coordinator of Bold Hearts Network, a network of beautiful, outstanding ladies with disabilities. Being a woman with disability, she focused the work on persons with disability to women with disabilities, pioneering various programs, forming networks to promote the rights of women with disability. She has volunteered and worked with international and local organizations and participated in President Barack Obama's flagship and inaugural Young African Leaders Initiative. And she is a Mandela Washington Fellow. She is a certified management consultant, disability advocate, John Maxwell team member, speaker, among others. She is a graduate, Bachelor of Science and Masters in Human Physiology and Public Health with various trainings and certifications. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are on this call with us right now and you're enjoying the whole session, and you're still going to be enjoying this session with Lady Ndifreke Essien, let us welcome Lady Ndifreke with a shouting. Okay, so Lady Ndifreke, you have 10 minutes to share with us. Then we move to Mr. Ebenezer Wikina, and then we'll go to Esther Mark, and then we close with Lady Roslyn Sachiti, and we go straight to taking questions, having the interactive session. So all our speakers, we crave your indulgence to actually bear with us. 10 minutes, we're going to be getting to all the speakers right now. So you we don't take so much of your time, and then you got to hear questions and get the answers from our speakers and the participants as well. Thank you so very much, Lady Ndifreke. The floor is yours. Meanwhile, you can actually follow the people. Your handles, the handles are actually on the for Timi, for Barrister Timi. You can follow him up on Twitter, Instagram. I think Timi Law, that's Twitter. Then Timi the Law, that is Instagram. So follow him up there. And then Mr. Aruna as well. Mr. Aruna is on Facebook, he's on Instagram, he's on LinkedIn, he's on Twitter as well. Please go check them out and then build your connection beginning from now, right? So let's do that. Don't forget to also jot down things. All right, the floor is yours right now, Lady Ndifreke. Thank you so very much.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. And I promise to spend 10 minutes because a lot has been said already. I got this. So what am I saying? I'm just speaking to you specifically about the fellowship that is conference on the first day by President Barack Obama. Just a little bit of history. So the Young African Leadership Initiative is a program that is amazing. I would say that. But I would like to point one thing specifically to a lot of young persons, because I've had the opportunity to be an applicant, a participant, and a reader of the MWF applications. So I get to say a lot. So I'm going to be sharing based on all three perspectives. As an applicant, it was the first time I was hearing about it, and I didn't think it was real. Let me just put it out there. So I just want to say, anybody who is doubting MWF, you've seen the fellows who have been lined up to speak. So yes, it is real, and it is something that would be very good for your prospects, as it were. So starting, one of the first things I would say to everyone who is listening to me here is this: go back and read the eligibility criteria. Do yourself that service, that due diligence of going back to read the eligibility criteria. You don't want to join and start filling an application without understanding if you are eligible for the opportunity. I've had persons come and they're like, oh, I'm above 35. And I'm like, it's clearly written there. And when somebody said, oh, I applied, but I'm above 35. And I'm like, why would you apply when you are above the age limit that was put there? Because it's put there 25, 35. You know, initially they used to allow young persons below 35, especially when you have a credible track record. But I'll say, look at the eligibility criteria. Look at the countries Nigeria is there, because I've had persons, you know, from the Middle East. I'm like, no, read the eligibility criteria. So that's one. The second point I would like to put is this: go through the application form, if you can, from beginning to the end before you start. There's a reason why. There is a flow. It helps you to put your thought process together. So pick out that application. Please do not wait till the last day. I'll come to that. Pick out the application, read the questions from top to bottom. And if you are on this call and you have read through the application and you feel that you do not have enough for the application, I want you to ask you to go ahead and fill that application for yourself, because it will help you as an individual to begin to strategize what it is that you want to do as a read the questions top to bottom and gather your thought process. The third thing is you are the owner of your own experiences. Nobody can write your application for you. It interests me when I see young persons say, can you help me write? And I'm like, I don't know you. I cannot write your application. You are the owner of your passions. You are the owner of your experience. And so in your own words, would you be able to communicate them? The only way somebody can step in is after you have written your application, and then the person can come and vet and read and say, okay, do this, do that. There's a bit of feedback, so I'm hoping that.
Hold hold on. Let me take care of that. Okay, I think you can move on. So sorry about that.
It's all right. So the only time a person can really help you is when you have sat down to a great extent, articulate your experiences, and then the person can begin to guide you, in the right direction. Also, participating in calls like this will help you to also begin to know what and what you shouldn't do. So you are the owner of experiences. So please know that you are to write and communicate your experiences. The fourth thing I would say is, while you look at the application, it's good for you to determine ahead of time if you want to that's which track you belong to. I've seen persons who start off applying as if they're applying for civic leadership, and then the application ends up looking like they're applying for business entrepreneurship. And I'm like, which one? And they're like, both. I'm like, chill. Even though you have option A, maybe first choice, second choice, but let somebody see a flow. Are you applying for civic leadership, public management, or the business track, which is clear in your mind? So what your assignment is to know what each track represents and see if your experiences fall into which track. Now, there are persons who would find that they can fall into more than one track. I would say list down what your advantages are in the respective tracks that you're strong in and pick your strongest track. That would be my advice, while the other one is, just an added advantage. Okay, my track was civic leadership, and I did it in the University of Delaware. Obviously, when you think about civic leadership, somebody already thinks about NGO. And one of the things I've also seen young people say is, do I need to have an NGO to apply for civic leadership to show I'm a leader? Absolutely not. If you can effectively and clearly communicate your volunteering experiences, you stand even a better chance of a CEO who is not even involved in their organization. Somebody asked questions like, I volunteer for an organization. It is not my organization. Do I apply as an individual or as a representative of organization? The group of people to be able to create an impact or a change. So feel free to express, because if you look at the questions try to see you describe yourself. The questions try to determine your interaction with persons. The questions try to determine how you tolerate other people's thought processes. These are what the questions do. So if you're able to communicate that, then perfect. Somebody said something about having a flow. This is also very important. I also find that a lot of young persons, because maybe they have too many, stories, they end up saying too many and crescendos and points where you take pauses. Speakers know that there are places you take pauses that create impact. Find your high notes and your high points in your experiences and communicate them. The next thing I would like to say, because I think I have 3 minutes, I'm looking at the time, trying to do 10 minutes, is let it be. One of the things that I think stood out for me was my application was very passionate. I didn't need to speak, but when they were reading it, it was like, wow, I need to meet this girl. Understand that applications are many. So you want to communicate your experiences, you want to communicate your thoughts, communicate why you should be picked among 200,000, 500,000 persons. You want to tell people why they should pick you for the opportunity. So my God, bring it up very clearly. Let it be clear. Let it be passionate, so that if somebody reads it, they're like, man, this girl knows what's up. Please don't lie. Do not lie. See, I'm just bowing my head. Some people lie. They tell tall lies. And then they don't, because it's not their story, they're not able to. Some people even lie. And when it's time for the interview process, they cannot say it because it's not them. Do not lie. Understand that a lot of background check is being done on some of your stories. So let it be that your stories are true. Finally, no, well, maybe not finally, but key to all of this is, don't begin, how do I put this? I've seen young persons engage in, for example, social work because they want to apply. Let that not be your story. You don't want to be a change maker or create impact because you want to be gotten in, that you want to succeed in a fellowship. No, let it be that if somebody looks at your track record, whether by way of visibility of your work or the evidence that you put, they see that there is some consistency or there is consistency in what you have said that you're doing. I read an application, let me put this, one time, and the young man was talking about the things he had done. And I looked at the timeline and I found out that all the things he said he had done, he did it in 1 month. So it was obvious that he just did it because he wanted to have a lot to say in his application. I don't think that's okay because they want a proven track record. Without returns. So you must also prove and civic, whether business or whether public, management. So I've said almost 5 things. Recap, if I can. The first one is very simple. Read through the eligibility criteria. The second one is read the application top to bottom. The third one, I'll say be specific, be consistent. Let there be a flow of your gist. Don't be everywhere and nowhere. Let it be clear. The other one I said is communicate passionately, even on paper. The third one I said was when you are writing, let it be that there is a track record of the things that you said that you're not, that that you do. And the fourth one I said was in your application process, let's see the returns. What is the value that you're going to bring back by participating in the fellowship? Because no one wants to invest without returns. You may be listening to me out there and you're feeling like, okay, this is not for me. I still encourage you to go and look at that application. It is a kind of leadership development manual. If you feel it, whether fellowship or not, it will help you to even advance in whether civic, business, or public management. Finally, I'd like to post because I know that we have a lot of persons who are not just first-time applicants. We have people who have applied before and who did not get through. This is what I want to say. Mandela Washington Fellowship, and I'm saying it without mincing words. I say it every time. Is not the validation of your work. It's only an added opportunity. Your work is valid. So if you did not get through to become a Mandela Washington Fellowship, should never stop you from being the impact and the change maker that you are. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Andy. So many things. Somebody's already doing it. You know what to do. Right?
Amazing,
And you know what
amazing.
to do. Please, unmute yourself. Unmute yourself. Unmute yourself.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so very much, Lady Ndifreke, and it's amazing. Points raised. Go back to read your eligibility criteria. Go read your eligibility criteria. Now go read your questions from top to bottom, bottom to top, right? Read everything, read it and read it over and over and over. And then, write your application yourself. Some persons, oh my God. They said, no, it's not an exam where the Mandela Washington Fellowship team will be there with you while you're writing your application. But then it's not to say that you should give your application to somebody to write for you. It's not going to be nice that way, okay? So write it yourself. It's just like you. So if I write something for you, how best am I going to tell your story? You are the author of your story. You are the author of your story. So you are the only one that can best tell your story. Like she said, passionately, she wrote her essay, and it got into the judges or into the team. And of course, that's how it's done. Passion. The last comment she made was that even if you don't get selected in there's a fellowship, that's not the validation for your work. I got that. It's not to say that what you're doing in your community is not valid enough, right? So, I don't want to say so much. I think she has said it all, what she said. Right now, we want to take another man, a global citizen of that. We have Mr. Ebenezer Wikina. Mr. Ebenezer Wikina is an amazing Niger Delta and doing so well globally and so much. Like he's done so much. And another thing is that he's the I think, should I put it this way? He is the latest, yeah, the latest Mandela Washington Fellow we have in the house. Yes, what I'm saying is that he just got done with his 2020, and it's amazing. Already he's doing so well. Like I'm his mentee. Mentee over him. He's doing so well for Rivers people, Niger Delta, Nigeria, and the entire world, entire globe. So right about now, I want to take the profile of Mr. Ebenezer Wikina, and then after him, we're going to be taking another woman, and that's going to be Lady Roselyn Sachiti from Zimbabwe. And after that, we close with the lady speaking. When I say close, I'm not saying we are ending the call that time. No, we're not ending the call. We're going to take your questions. All the guests are still right here with us. They are still on the call with us, and they'll be answering, they'll be attending your questions. They'll be taking all your questions, answering all your questions, and all that. That's the essence of this. I know they've spoken so well, they've spoken so much, and all of that, but then it does not stop them from answering your questions. So they are going to oblige us. We are begging, we are pleading with them to oblige us, spend that time with us. Okay. So right about now, we welcome our fourth speaker. www.policyshapers.com. Now, the world's first open source platform for policy ideas led by young people. He also currently serves as advocacy program coordinator at PIN Foundation. PIN is a partnership initiative for Niger Delta. So he is an advocate, is the advocacy coordinator or program coordinator at PIN Foundation, a corporate social initiative of Chevron Corporation. Mr. Wikina sits on the British Council's UK Africa New Narratives Youth Advisory Board, where he represents West Africa and the youth the Association of International Broadcasting Awards, AIBS, based in London. This extensive work has earned him several awards and recognition, including the first ever Sound City MVP Award for Community Development, the Nigerian Economic Summit Group Bridge Fellowship, the Mandela Washington Fellowship, Future News Worldwide, the Global Investigative Journalism Network Fellowship, the inaugural list of 10 most influential young Nigerians, to mention a few. Mr. Wikina is an alumnus of the London School of Journalism, Harvard Kennedy School, and the Stanford Center for Professional Development. Ladies and gentlemen, right about now, you know what to do. Kindly unmute yourself to make welcome. Unmute your device as you make welcome with a rousy applause. Our fourth speaker for tonight, Ebenezer Wikina. Please unmute your device. Unmute your device. I will welcome our speaker.
Thank you. Thanks everyone.
Learn with Eben.
Right,
thank you.
Great.
Apologies that, yes, sincere apologies that I'll have to turn off my video. The bandwidth is very poor here, so just bear with me, just so you can hear me clearly.
Okay, that's fine.
Can you confirm if you can hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, great. Okay, great. So I'll try to finish before 10 minutes. I know we have two more speakers. I mean, Timi, Aruna, Freki, you guys have said everything already. That's the beauty of speaking later on in the program. Well, thank you guys for all of the advice. I think I'll just start mine with a note of perseverance, right? Freki in our last statement said, even if you've applied so many times and you don't get it, don't let it feel like you're not validated enough. That is very. Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you.
Yes, because it's very easy to feel like you're not enough or you're not good enough when you're rejected on all of these applications. I'm saying this from personal experience because I'd applied for the Mandela Washington Fellowship 4 times, right?
Wow.
The year I got in was the 5th application, right? So you could imagine that if they were giving T-shirt and umbrella, I could have gotten T-shirt and umbrella for being the most for applying for the fellowship times. You didn't even know the in the course of those applications, I reviewed applications for my friends, for my cousins who got in, who would say, "Oh, Eben, please review this for me," and they would get in, and I would apply and I would not get in. And I began to think, is it that there's something wrong? Is there something wrong with me? But when you eventually get in, you realize that so there are so many factors that usually come to play, right? Usually in Nigeria, they'll choose maybe like 50 people or 56 people. In a year, it took 56 people out of maybe like 57,000 applications, right? And there are readers all across the continent who get to read the applications. So many things can happen. Most times it's not even just because of your application alone. There are so many other things that happen. So I just thought to stress on that point that you shouldn't stop applying if you really want to get it. If you keep going, you will definitely get it. Until you try 1,000 times, like as they always say, Thomas Edison tried, you don't have any excuse to give up. So perseverance is a very important point, and that's the first lesson. The second thing is, so during my interview, one thing that the interviewer told me that was very useful, and Ndifreke mentioned it as well, is that it's important to have a constant theme across your interview, across your application. Revolve around a single area where you're working in, right? So, I mean, because of the fact that I've been a pioneer for so many things, I'll talk about global shapers I started, I'll talk about TED, I'll talk about this, I'll talk about almost everything, right? And I'm sure for most of those years I didn't get selected. It could be because I was speaking about so many things, and as Ndifreke said, not saying anything really, because I was just talking about all of the achievements, but necessarily not saying which particular sector and which particular area I'm working towards. So if you have that kind of challenge, do well to ensure that you find a way to narrow your stories into a single. I would say brag. Put your story. You're doing TEDx's, you're doing Wikipedia Foundation events. It means that you're working somewhere around community organizing, right? And why are you doing all of these events? You're trying to bring people together, trying to get young people a platform to discuss. So that is a common theme, right? Storytelling, events, media, etc. You're giving a platform for stories to be told. And if you say that way, it makes more sense than to say, I've organized this, I've organized this, I've organized this. That way you're speaking in circles and not really saying anything. So yeah, so it's important to have a single narrative across your application. Do not lie. Yes, they will definitely find out. In fact, during the interview, some questions came at me that if they were lies, I could have definitely been caught. So do not lie. Timi mentioned evidence, which is very, very important. But one thing you could also do to increase your evidence could be to add bit.ly links. So in my application, just so that when I say I have reached 4,000 people, or I lectured at Kent Arua Polytechnic and I thought XYZ number of people, or I created a training manual or a textbook in the school, I had those documents uploaded to my Google Drive, and I made a bit.ly link for them, bit.ly, and I shared the link in the application. I put it in brackets in the application just so that anyone could say, this is a very bogus claim. Are you sure you really did this? And person wants to know. Person could copy the bit.ly link, put it in their browser, and to open up the Google Drive where I have all that information. So that could be a tip and a way to share your evidence pretty much of your work. Something else is also to ensure that you're putting out your stories correctly. right? In a way that personally don't tell is always the best storytelling advice, right? So instead of saying, oh, I have touched people's lives, you can say, and not just telling. Finish early, because another thing, a couple of those years that I applied 4 times was that there are some days where I applied like on the last day of the thing. So I'm sure I must have rushed through and made errors here and there. You know, as opposed to the last year that I got it, I finished like 2 weeks to the time, gave it to a couple of friends to review and edit, and then get back to me before I sent my final application. So finish early, don't wait till the last day. I know John said we have about 18 days left. So finish as soon as you can. Utilize your network as well. I mean, these speakers here are great people. You've heard all of them. You hear some more. There are other fellows out there who on social media who might be willing to review your application. Use them. Use your network. Use your resources. Share the thing with them. Have them make their feedback. Take into consideration their feedback. Edit your application, and you'll definitely be ready to go. So the final thing I would say is that I'm not hoping. I'm praying, I'm hoping that our year will be the last year where we had to do Zoom, because I mean, unlike Timi and Ndifreke and Co, we didn't get to experience the fellowship in the US. Go to the US, but beyond traveling to the US, right? See it as a way to expand your network, because even those of us who even did the Zoom sessions. So my fellowship was at Wayne State University. All of the 40 plus fellows the same institution, we all have started coming up with initiatives together. You know, we wrote some policy briefs together. People are already planning projects in different countries together. You know, so beyond the experience in the US, I think the network is also the second biggest thing that you benefit from this fellowship. So think about the network, think about the people. Usually at the Mandela Washington Fellowship, people are trying to network with the US people, right? They're like, oh, they're giving cards to the white people, in quotes, sorry, white people. But look at the people around you, the fellows around you. And as Aruna and Timi said, you know, they already built relationships that had even transcended the fellowship to their personal and professional lives. So that's definitely something that we should. Someone in Zimbabwe, Leone, to see. So also look at networking with your fellows as well. Don't just say all of us are here together, so we're looking for the white people. Think about the fellows as well, because they are going to be the future presidents, the future ministers, the future commissioner, future captains of industries who would be eventually influencing things in various countries. So if you think more about the future, you'd also think about networking with them as well. And I was just saying, even though we had to do ours on Zoom, it was still a chance for us to network as well. That was the biggest takeaway for all of us.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so very much. Thank you very much. Please, everyone, let's unmute ourselves as usual. Let's unmute ourselves, and then let's appreciate our speaker. Everybody unmute yourself. Unmute yourself right now. Now, everybody. All right, Mr. Ebenezer Wikina, very many thanks for sharing with us. Very, very many thanks for sharing with us. Now, perseverance, very key. You must also, do a single narrative. Try to link all your stories and let's say address a particular thing that you want to be known for, or you are known for, and you want to be known for actually. all of that. And then your evidence, evidence, and you talk about early, being punctual, or being beat deadline. Actually, that is, like you said, you did yours. The last one you got selected about dropping our essays soon enough, making applications soon enough, not to do the rush, 11th hour rush and all of that. Yeah, talking about thinking about the network we could actually build, create, and all of that. And we shouldn't just think about the foreigners. I mean, the white people, the dignitaries who meet there, but we also meet with ourselves. And he said one of it, business card, people with a business card. Yeah, I can't wait to get mine too. That is if I don't have already. Get my business card and move with it. So when I get there, I should share, build my contact. Whether or not it is by Zoom, like he said, we're hoping that it's not this session, this year's own is not going to be this Zoom thing. Whether or not it is by Zoom, the network remains. The network remains. And I saw so many things he has done. I've seen so many things he has done through the process or during his the fellowship the university called and all that. So it's been amazing. Okay, thank you so very much once again, Mr. Ebenezer Wikina, for that beautiful session. Okay, right about now, we want to bring up to talk to us briefly, 10 minutes. Lady Roslyn Sachiti. After Roslyn Sachiti, we'll be having Lady Esther Mark. Lady Esther Mark, we're going to be having. Please, all our speakers, kindly drop your handles. Kindly drop your handles on the chat button so we could connect with you. Our participants could connect with you beyond this place. Kindly help us drop your handles to reach out to you. Thank you. So right now, I want to Lady Roslyn Sachiti. Okay. She is coming. She's joining us from Zimbabwe. Lady Roslyn Sachiti is joining us from Zimbabwe. And I'm going to take her profile. Briefly. Time to do that now. Take her profile. Yeah, I'm coming. Okay. Sorry. Please forgive me. Just 5 more seconds. I'll get her profile. Okay. Lady Roslyn. Okay, Roslyn Sachiti is the features health and society editor with the Herald newspaper, Harare, Zimbabwe. An award-winning journalist, she has vast media experience, having been in the media for over 15 years. She is the Yali 2015 Mandela Washington Fellow at the Presidential Precinct. Now, let me maybe I should let you know that she is of the same cohort with our first, second speakers. She is of the same cohort with our first, second speakers. So, ladies and gentlemen, are you ready to listen to our next? Sachiti, so kindly unmute yourself and let us welcome. Our manner has been. Let us welcome our next speaker. Please unmute your device right now. Unmute your device right now, please.
All right. Thank you, everyone. As John has said, I'm Roslyn. I'm joining you from Harare, Zimbabwe. Sorry, I won't be able to use my video because yeah, can you get me?
Yeah. I'm so sorry about that. Okay.
All right. Oh, okay. So I was in the same cohort as Timi and Aruna, as you said, at the presidential pressings in 2015, and we had a great time in the States, and up to now we still connect. But I'm mainly going to talk about starting early when you're doing your application. Why it's important to start early. Applications have been called. Why is it important for you to make that application early? First of all, I discovered I made my application last minute. And I discovered that, I could have written some of the things that I missed out. It was just fortunate that I was chosen, I was selected on the first go. But it's always critical for you to make that head start. The earliest bird always catches the fattest worm. So it's important to just make sure that you do your application early so that you can read through your application. Always go back to it when you have time. Look at the things that you would have left out. Look at aspects of the things that you do in your life, in the work that you do, that can help improve your application. Because sometimes, when you're doing things very fast, on the deadline, you tend to miss out very critical issues. The things that you might think don't matter may matter in your application because you've just done it so quickly because you want to meet the deadline. So it's always important to do it fast. It enables you to check out your mistakes, check out what you have left out, as I said before. Or maybe when you go back to your application, you look at what you can add in your application that adds value, that makes your application stronger. Never, never, never do it last minute. I emphasize on that because you'll regret it at the end of the day. I've been a reader for a number of years, and I've seen some applications where you see that this person could have told me enough. I want to learn more about them, but I don't know about them because they're just being vague. They could have done their application very fast. So it's really important to take your time. The moment the applications have been called for, start your application, put down everything you want, have your own checklist, your own personal checklist on what you want to put there, because the person who's going to be reading your application doesn't know you. You have to make them know you. How do they do that? It's up to you. What information are you giving them? That's very critical. And then I'm looking at the language. Me coming from the media, I'm very particular about language, and many readers are. How good is your English? Are you checking your words, the language that you're using, your sentences? Do you even have full stops on your sentences? Some readers may disqualify your application and may overlook it just because of those simple things like not putting a full stop, not putting a question mark. The punctuation really matters. Your sentence construction. Is someone getting what you want to say? Are your sentences clear? Are you going straight to the point? Do I have to spend an hour reading your application when I've got another application that's very clear and I can just take 20 minutes? Because I've got 40 minutes to read an application. Why should I spend 30 minutes trying to understand you when someone has written a very clear application? So it's very important to check your diction, the choice of words you use in your application, the kind of language, your sentence construction. Never lie. Be honest and believable. What you're writing in your application should be very believable. Don't try things that will make a reader doubt you. Don't exaggerate. It's the simple things that matter, as I'm saying. It's the simple things that really matter. Be real. Just tell the reader, what are your goals in life? What do you want to achieve? How are you going to achieve this? It will make a reader come closer to you and be more interested in you and in getting to understand the kind of person you are through your application, because your picture is not even on the application, so no one really knows what you look like. It's what you're writing. It's how you're expressing yourself that really matters for me. And then I'm looking at the issue of your personal statement. Usually this distinguishes, the winning applicant from the others. How is your personal statement? How are you expressing yourself? How are you finding your strong, confident voice in your application? I've never seen you, but I want to see you in your application. What life lessons have led you to want to apply for the Mandela Washington Fellowship? How will this benefit others? What life experiences, did you go through that make you think you can make a difference in the world out there? Tell the reader, tell those who are going to be reviewing your article or your application all that information. Find your strong, confident voice. Who am I? What do I want? How hungry am I to get this? When you put those things across, it'll really set your application apart from the others. You know, there are many applications out there, and you've got different readers coming from different parts of the world. Sorry, my dog is barking. But you know, it's really important for you to be putting out all that information about yourself. Make the reader really understand. If it's John who's applying for the Mandela Washington Fellowship, we want to know, who is John? What does John stand for? Why should I be interested in reading John's article? And then I'm also looking at the issue of understanding, you know, the questions that are put on the application form and what they require. Many times you find people are asking, you know, there are questions that have been put out there, but from the responses that you get, it either shows someone never read to understand the question through the response they give you. They'll give you a response that's totally different, you know, from what is needed from the application. So it's really critical to understand what the question requires. By doing so, you understand, you know, you know what kind of response you're going to be given to the reader. But this is very critical. You give me a wrong response, you give me a response that really doesn't answer the question, I'm not interested. The readers would not look at that. Ensure that you understand. If you're not sure about the question, you can ask the next person, what does this question refer? I think everyone has got a mentor in their life. If you've got a mentor, you can always refer to them, like, I can't get this. What can I know? What kind of information is needed? This is very critical because it sets you apart from others. Do you find it's fulfilling to be doing this? Do you find time to do this? Do you go through all the questions so that you give the correct answers? Avoid one-liners. I've seen some applications where people will get a question and they'll just give you one line. You know, it puts off the reader because it shows that it's either you're not interested in this, it's either you did it very fast because you wanted to meet the deadline, or you simply don't understand. So it's very critical to give full detailed answers. If it requires 400 words, try to put 350 if you're lazy, but try to at least give information. Let the reader really understand you. Let them see the hunger that you have, you know, to get the sports. You know, the sports are limited. How many African youths do we have in Africa? Why should you get the sport? Should you get it because you gave me a one-word answer? Should you get it because you gave me a one-line answer? Or should you get it because you're tempted to give me a paragraph, you know, detailing what you want to do, detailing who you are, detailing how this fellowship will benefit you? It's very critical. Details matter for me. They really, really, really do matter. Because as I said before, you should remember that the person who's reading your application does not know you. And the only way they're going to know you is through what you're writing. So let your writing speak for yourself. You know, as a journalist, I've had people who read my articles, they've never met me, but the moment I mention my name, they'll say, oh yeah, I remember your story. So let people remember you because of the things that you have put on paper. Let them remember your application. I've read some applications that up to now, I still remember, like this guy, this lady, they just, you know, they're spot on. They put the details. You know, I really get touched, you know, when I read such applications. It's very critical because the moment you do so, you get into the mind of the reader. You make them walk through your journey. You know, it's like watching a movie, you know, from the start to the end. You want to know every aspect. If it's a boring movie, you just switch off your television. If it's an interesting movie, you'll watch it to the end and even look for a part 2 if it's there. So make your application be that movie that someone wants to look for. Let it be the television series that if someone watches season 1, they want to watch season 2. Don't be that thing where like, this first episode is just boring and I won't watch it anymore. So make it very interesting so that someone can read your application to the end. And you know, you can be forgiven if you make some silly mistakes because someone really knows and sees that you've made an effort, you know, to tell your life, to tell what you want to do, to tell what you want to achieve when you come back home. And it's very critical also to mention what you want to do when you come back home, because it shows that the experience that you would have gotten from the states like Aruna and the other speakers side and Timi, you know, when you come back, what impacts will this have on society? What impact will this have on the work you're already doing? What impact would you have on your personal development? This is critical. And so for me, these are the very key points that I wanted those who want to apply to really understand. And also, if you really do it well and you get to go to the States or you do it virtually, always stay in touch. I'm in touch with Aruna. I'm in touch with Timi. I've done a lot of work with Timi since we came back from the States. And this shows that the impact of the fellowship. We talk a lot. We help each other professionally through the work that we're doing. Timi always consults me on some stuff that he wants me to assist with in the media, and I've done it that helpfully. And I think from me, that is all I can say. And if there are any questions, then I'll respond to in the next session. Thank you very much, John.
All right, very many thanks to you, Lady Rosaline Sachiti. Thank you so very much. Oh, good. Okay, right now you know what to do, right? Unmute your device. Unmute your device. Everybody, let us appreciate that. This is for you, Lady Rosaline Sachiti. Amazing thoughts you've just shared with us there. Interestingly, she is a media person like I am. Like, I want to learn. I've got somebody that I want to learn, this thing. So she's going to tell me a whole lot, Lady Rosaline, I don't think you know that I'm a media person yet.
No, I did find out.
She has mentioned, crossing your T's and dotting your I's. Cross your T's, dot your I's, okay? That's very important. And then she said you should be real in your application, yeah? Avoid one-line answers. You're giving a maximum of 400 words. You're giving a maximum of 500 or 300 characters. Try, even if you cannot get up to the maximum, try to get close to the maximum of the required words or characters, of your application and all that. Now make your application interesting, leaving everyone and anyone wanting to read it, yeah? You can hear me clearly? Oh my. Can we hear me now? Can we hear me?
Yes. Now? Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, someone is saying you can't hear me. Okay, so make your applications interesting. Yeah. Okay, we're not getting you clearly. Someone is not getting me clearly. So I've just summarized what she said. I hope you got her. You got her, right? Okay. Okay, that's it. My Bluetooth gone. Let me use my, sorry. Latifah can't hear me clearly. My voice, my audio is low. So let me use my. Okay, so I've just tried to recollect what she said. Okay, I just tried to bring up some points she has made here, and they are very clear. Key among them, is that to make your better now, right? You have to make your story or application interesting. Let everybody and anyone who reads it at first at a glance, want to read it more and read it all through and then get the message there. Okay, that is like, let it be, okay, let me not use that. Let it be suspense or something interesting. She mentioned movie and all of that. She cited movie, gave movie instances and all of that. Okay, that's it. And TV series, that's it. Okay, right about now, we want to have our next speaker, and she is Lady Esther Mark. Lady Esther Mark, she's here in Nigeria. Remember, I told you Lady Rosaline Sachiti spoke to us from Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe there. Amazing. Okay, so right now I want to have Lady Esther speak to us. Lady Esther, are you on the call? Lady Esther, are you on the call?
Yes, I'm on the call. I am. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
I can hear you now. I can hear you now. All right. So right about now, we want to have our next speaker in the next for the next 10 minutes. She's going to share with us, and She's going to be our last speaker for tonight. And after now, we'll do 30 minutes for questions, answers, and all our speakers are going to attend to all the questions, okay? Just get your questions prepared. Put them on. Yeah, please put them on. Write them down. If it's on the chat, you can drop your questions on the chat. Once we open room for that, we're going to do that and we'll be attended to, okay? So right about now, let's unmute ourselves and welcome our next speaker. Let's unmute ourselves right now and with the rousing applause, let's welcome our next speaker, Lady Esther, the floor is yours right now. Thank you so very much for joining in. I'm delighted to join this call. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. My name is Esther Mark. I am a 2017 Mandela Washington Fellow, amongst other things. And I'm glad to be here to help provide clarity for you and your journey as you journey through becoming a Mandela Washington Fellow. It's my earnest desire and my earnest hope that come January, we'll be hearing lots of good news from many of you in the sense that you have been shortlisted for interview. Well, that journey starts, it's a long time from now, 4 or 5 months, but whatever it is that would land you that email, that text message, that congratulatory message starts from now. And I want to say thank you to every other person, all the speakers so far for what they've done, what they've said. I would be providing a little clarity on some of the things I feel are important too, in addition to every other thing they've been saying. Now, I want to pay particular attention to your essay questions, because after all said and done, I don't know, can you guys hear me?
We can hear you. I think
okay, great. After all said and done, you still have to write. You would have to write. And what are those things you're writing? You're answering the personal statements, that's the essay questions you would have to write. But before you start writing, what do you do? I want to ask you at this point, why do you do what you do? One of the speakers actually mentioned something I had already pinned down to talk about, and I was like, yes. She said, hope you're not doing this because you want to get into the fellowship. Hope you're not starting a project simply because you want to get into a fellowship. At the end of the day, our motives will be tried. Our motives, our intentions will be tried. When these intentions are tried, what would we find? Why do you do what you do in the business you're running, the social enterprise you're running, the NGO you're running? What is the underlying factor behind it? If you are not sure why you're doing what you're doing, then there is a problem, because it will show through the essays. When I pick up a script to mark, when I pick up an essay to vet, it's very easy for me to know if somebody knows why he's doing what he's doing, or he's just going through the motions. So you need to understand, you need to be clear. And this is where it calls for you sitting down with yourself and having a very sincere talk with yourself. Introspection, ask yourself certain questions. If you're able to understand why you're doing what you're doing, it will be easier for you. Now, secondly, be truthful and sincere. It's very, very easy for you to want to impress the reader. It's very, very easy for you to want to impress whoever is marking your script, and you want to mention numbers. We're such a continent, we're such a country that is big on numbers. I fed 5,000 people. I provided opportunities for 50,000 people. I gave scholarships to 20,000 children. It's not always in the numbers. If it's just one person you're able to impact fully, and you can show the workings of that impact, it's 100% better. 100% better than you lying about making an impact in the life of 10,000 people, which we can't find. No trace, no track record, nothing. It makes no sense at all. So I tell people, don't be afraid of stating the truth. I've read applications where I have to call, I've helped in vetting applications, I've had to call people and ask them, how many people were involved in this? So why are you mentioning 100 when they were just 10? Who are you trying to impress? Who? So be very, very sincere, be truthful. I remember during my interview, as I was saying something, the lead interviewer was already online. He was already online searching for that particular thing I was talking about. And I had no idea. He just had his phone with him and he was talking and he was nodding and he was saying, yes. And right there, he brought out his phone and showed me the picture of what I was talking about. And so imagine if I had lied, or imagine if I had falsified the figures, or imagine if I had said something contrary, it would have been outright disqualification. So just try as much as possible to be sincere. Honesty is a virtue. Integrity is a virtue. As you do what you do, just keep your track record. You don't know when it will be called upon, but make sure you're being sincere in that. Be sincere, be truthful. And okay, I've talked about understanding your why you do what you do. Also understand your journey. Don't be intimidated by somebody else. So somebody else might be a big name already and the person is applying and you're just coming from the, whatever it is you're coming from. And then you become scared. This person has this. It happened to me during my own application period too. As a matter of fact, going by what I saw, I was like, nah, it will be difficult to get in. But because I knew what I was doing at the end of the day, I got in. Now, those ones I was scared and intimidated by, they did not get in. The power of what you've achieved, or you've done ABC from A to Z, from 1 to 100. No, it could just be one, two, three small things you've done. And if you're able to tell those stories passionately, and whoever it is that is reading or vetting your application can actually see through, trust me, it will sink in. When I went for interview, one of the projects I had embarked on, the 3 panelists kept hammering on that project. They kept hammering on it. Surprisingly, when we went for orientation after we had been selected and all, I think the public affairs something, I can't remember his portfolio now, when he was giving his welcome address, he mentioned my project particularly amongst all the projects in the North. And I can tell you why. It's because the power of storytelling stood out. I was able to convey those thoughts. I remember as they were talking, I was talking and they kept asking so many questions. If you don't convey these things well, you may have done something tangible, but if you don't sell yourself well, you could just be keeping yourself somewhere. So try as much as possible to see how your stories can flow through. Now, I want to also say something about answering the questions. You have questions 1 to 5, I want to believe. And then there's also the additional question for those who want to go for the PDE. In answering any question, first of all, one of the things you should do is deconstruct the questions. Deconstruct the questions. So you have a question that has like 5 barrels in it, A, B, C, D, E. And those questions have A, B, C, D, E. If you don't deconstruct them to know where they are, you might just answer the father and forget the remaining children and the grandchildren. So let me give you an example. Question 2 says, based on your understanding of your preferred track of study, what skills and knowledge do you hope to gain from the fellowship that you would not be able to develop through other education or training? How will you use these skills and knowledge to adapt to your activities in your home country and community within the next 3 to 5 years? This is plenty questions all jumbled into one. If you're to answer this question, the first thing you should do is deconstruct. How do you deconstruct? Bring these questions one after the other, based on your understanding of your preferred track of study. That means number 1, you should already know the track of study you should be going for. We have 3 tracks, civic engagement, business and entrepreneurship, and public management. So you should have an idea from your track record, from what you're doing at the moment, which of these tracks suits what I'm doing at the moment, because this question has to do with that you understanding, a basic understanding of the track you're going for. After that, you go to the next one. What skills and knowledge do you hope to gain from this fellowship that would not be developed through any other training? So you need to ask yourself at this point in time, what is that thing this fellowship is offering me that would not get elsewhere? Remember, I talked about understanding why you do what you do. If you know why you're doing what you're doing, it will be easier for you to know, okay, these are the skills I have at the moment in helping me move from point A to point B. These are the skills I need to move now from point B to point 20. That means if I was making impact in the life of 2 people with the skills I already have, if I am availed this opportunity, I will go and learn A, B, C. And when I return, the knowledge of something like, so you must know what skill are you lacking that you would not get from any other fellowship, you will not get from any other opportunity within Nigeria. So that's why I said, sit down and ask yourself certain questions, talk with yourself, know where you're coming from, know where you're going to, and know where you're headed. Now you go back and answer the third one. How will you now use these skills and knowledge to adapt your country, your activities in your home country? That means you've identified the track you're applying for. You've identified the skills you need that would help you push forward in that track. Thirdly, you've known what you're going there to learn. So it's not a time to just go and snap pictures. It's not a time to go and do selfie. It's not a time to bombard us on social media with our pictures and every other thing we've gotten. Aside the pictures, aside the wave of the moment, what are you coming back with? So you need to understand that. Then you ask yourself, how would you use these skills now to move from where you are to where you're going to? How would the knowledge of this skill, how would you adapt? How would you bring in the local content activation? How would you learn what they've taught you there? The whites have done everything. Remember, as you're also writing, whatever it is you'll be learning there, it's not everything you learn there that will be applicable to you in your own setting here, because you're dealing with different communities, you're dealing with different environments. So you ask yourself, when I learn this thing, how would I be able to adapt that thing I've learned to suit my own local content production? It should be very, very clear to you. And if it's very clear to you, then it will be very clear to the examiner. If it's not clear to you, it won't be clear to the examiner. It's like trying to explain something to that child. So you should know, this is what I'm going to learn. When I learn this, then this is how I want to apply it back to my own home country. And then lastly, they said within the next 3 to 5 years. That means they are making investments in your life because they want to see a trajectory. They want to see improvement in whatever it is you're doing. So if you're helping, if you're impacting 10 people at the moment, you're impacting 100 people at the moment, you should be able to say in the next 3 to 5 years, I should triple this number. I should double this number. It should go up. So that's just how you can actually do what? Deconstruct the questions. If you can deconstruct it this way, it will now be easier for you to do what? Sit down and write. And always tell people, employ the power of storytelling. Employ the power of storytelling. Even if you want to go and give someone your essays to vet, it makes it very easy for the person to vet your essays if you know how to write. So you don't go and be mixing up your tenses. You don't go and you're mixing up the grammar and everything. And it becomes crazy. Sometimes you look at some applications and you ask yourself, oh God, where did this come from? So you don't want that. You know how lecturers will be marking scripts and the whole class it's looking boring and all that. And then they suddenly pick up a script from a student and they smile on the lecturer's face because the person is giving him what he wants. That's the kind of impression you want to make. So you try as much as possible to ensure that your script stands out. When I vet applications, when I even read applications for NWF and when I'm scoring, it's very easy to know the ones that will progress to the next stage and the ones that would not progress. So up your writing game. Employ the use of Grammarly. Go online and get all these apps, write well. Deploy Grammarly on your phone, on your laptop. So that as you're writing, it's helping you to highlight the bad areas and all that. write well, employ the power of storytelling, be factual, be truthful. Try as much as possible to understand your journey, know where you're going to, deconstruct your questions as much as possible, stick to the word count. Don't overwrite and don't underwrite. Don't overwrite, don't underwrite. So if you're able to do all this, it will be very, very easy for you to actually do what? To actually scale through. So I don't want to talk about what happens during the interview and all that, and then what happens after you get in, how to compose yourself. At this stage, we're still talking about you even crossing the mark. And so if you can put these things in scope, you can put these things in place, trust me, you'll be on your way to interview by January, all things being equal. So I don't want to take much more time again. I think I may stop here. And I know. Hello?
All right, very many things, Lady amazing. Please, you can do better than that. Unmute yourself. Everybody, unmute yourself. All right, thank you so very much, Lady Mr. Mark. All right, I hope you're here with us. You're still here on the call with us. And then right about now, we're going to be taking a question. We're going to be taking questions from participants, and all of us here, I think, so your questions can start coming right now. And then just so you know, okay, I've got one hand up. Just so we have some of our speakers that have not spoken, fellows that have not spoken, and I'll ask them the questions, we channel it to them first, and then the speakers will also address the question. Okay, so I'm going to unmute one of the participants right now. So, Mr. Wisdom, Mr. Kingdom, you're online. Are you on the call? And then Mr. Sini Yakubu, I trust you're on the call. Then Dr. Uchoma, I trust you're on the call. So questions will be coming in. When you do us a favor, questions as they come in. So your questions are going to be coming in 30 seconds each. Okay, make your question succinct and simple and just brief like that. Okay, so I'm going to ask Latifa Musa to ask a question. 30 seconds, please. Your time starts now. Unmute yourself.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Thank you so much to all of the speakers. I really appreciate all of the points that you have noted down. So I have two questions. My first question would be, everyone has highlighted that it's important for us to know what we are going to do or how we are going to impact the lessons that we have learned from MWF when we come back to our country. However, sometimes a lot of people don't. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, go on.
Hello.
Go
on. Okay, but sometimes a lot of people don't know what that is. How are you going to be able to articulate that properly in your application form so that you are not selling some kind of wild dream that you know you cannot achieve when you come back? That's question one. My question two will be, how do you properly connect with people while you are on the MWF program, effectively connect with people when you are on the MWF program? Thank you very much.
Okay, Mr. Sinu. Mr. Sini is online, is on the call right now. Mr. Sinu, did you hear her question?
Yes, I really got what she said.
Amazing. Could you kindly attend to that? Thank you.
So thank you very much. My name is Sini Yakubu. I'm a 2017 fellow, business and entrepreneurship track. First of all, I want to appreciate all the speakers that spoke. They really hit what I had in my mind. So going back to what she said about you expressing how, like, if you come back, how you'll be able to actually impact, on on what you're doing, how the fellowship can help you do better. And just as other speakers said earlier, you know, if you are really doing stuff already before the application and not being triggered as a result of the application, you find out that it will be very easy for you to actually identify, you know, what you can do, you know, even after the fellowship, because there is a question that it might not really be asking you like about your short and long time goal, but I think it's the question 3 or 4 that is actually geared toward that. That question seeks you to actually express like some of your short and long time goal, you know, if in what you are doing, even if not selected for the fellowship. So you have to be able to express that you understand it in through your application, because that is actually what is going to give you a hint, you know, even when you come back, and you will be challenged during the interview. Even if you scale, if you go to the interview, definitely you will not be able to run away from this kind of question. So I will let me use my scenario as an example, you know, before I went for the fellowship. So I went on the business and entrepreneurship track, and all that I'm doing is that I'm doing agriculture, you know, as a business, providing opportunities for young people. And as you know, we had this problem of Boko Haram in the Northeast. So I built my application very simple in such a way that giving youth an opportunity to engage in my farming activities, actually take them off, you know, reduce their vulnerability of being recruited into the insurgent. So all that I was able to communicate is that if I have this opportunity, I'll be able to develop skills in mentorship. I'll be able to develop skills, you know, in other aspects like grant writing, that if I come back, I will not just use that knowledge for myself alone, but I will also be able to channel it down to the people that are working with me, or channel it down to the people that are around me, and therefore creating opportunities for them. And actually, when I came back from the fellowship, I was able to do that because I can say I've been able to mentor a lot of people to actually secure some grant and stop etc. So it is very easy for you to be able to, it depends on what you're doing. And that is how you're going to build it. So if you need more clarity, you can reach out to me. I will give you better clarity on that. And talking about how you can connect, you know, even after the fellowship, it's not something that we can talk in details at now, but I want to let you know that we already have an alumni association, which it will also be fine if you can be able to state that in your application. It shows that you have done your research. So all of us that are going to the fellowship, we have an association that is functional and that is registered with CAC, and we've been doing a lot of projects. Like Esther that you just talking, she has been championing one of the projects that we are doing about drug abuse in Jos, and we are still doing more. We are doing cleanup project in Lagos and Port Harcourt and other stuff like that. So it will be fine. You also stated that after you come back from the fellowship, we will be an active member of the Alumni Association, and you'll be able to contribute your quota. And you know, we pay dues and stuff like that. We raise money and we look for grant to implement project after the fellowship. So you can also state that. So don't worry about you connecting. We'll also help you to connect with other members, but you can state it, you know, let it be that you are aware of existence of something like this. And if you state it in your application, I think it will also make your application strong. Over.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Yakubu. Amazing thoughts. I trust, Latifa, you got answers to your question there, and every other person on the call, you also got a clarity of that one there. I want to read a question from the charts here. I want to read a question from the chat, and this is coming from UMT. UMT is asking, so what are the examples and types of questions that they ask at the interview in the embassies? That's a question. Is there? Okay, let me have Mr. Let me have Dr. Uchioma. Are you on the call, please? Dr. Uchioma, are you on the call? Okay, Dr. Uchioma is not on the call right now.
I'm on the call. However, I'm still working. Please, can you repeat the question?
Okay, fine. And the question is, what are the examples and types of questions or type of questions that they are likely to ask at the embassy? At the embassy. Yes.
Okay, so usually the question they will ask you will be what you have written in your essays. So all the essays, they want to like deep to understand if you are actually the one that wrote the essays. You should be able to print out your questions out and revise it. So for me personally, I printed out my application and revised it while I was even waiting. In preparation for your interview, also get your passports ready also. like you must not get your passport ready, but if you have your passport, that's an addition that you are ready to travel when you are called upon to travel. So revise the answers that you have given to all the questions. Usually they won't ask you anything outside what you have written down.
Okay. Thank you so very much, Dr. Uchoma. That's amazing there. You got that, Claire, the person who asked the question, and every other person on the call. You got that, Claire, right? And so we still have somebody's hand up. Meanwhile,
I just want to add a couple of things.
Mr. Aruna shared the file, Mr. Aruna shared the file, and also I also shared it. So kindly go through those files, I think, download them and all of that. Now, somebody's asking, before I come to Nicholas Alifa, Nicholas, I'll come to you, then you ask your question. Somebody's asking, sir, is it possible, or is it every application that gets to the interview stage? That's question one. That is, okay, interview stage two. How about some of us that are not part of the Yali cohorts, do we stand a chance? Mr. Barrister Timi, could you kindly attend to this for us, sir?
Yes, absolutely. Yes, you stand a chance. Basically, it's not that you have to be a part of the Yali network to stand a chance. It's basically about how committed you've shown your leadership. But being a part of the network, over time, and your commitment to the network can be cited. So, for example, before the network was not really as in existence in 2015, as strong as it is everywhere and all that. So in Ibadan at that time, some of the projects that I did involved partnering with the American corner. I'm sure you might have the American corner in different parts of Africa. And so I've done projects, good governance, town halls, governance lab, around civic leadership and open governance with the American corner. So I cited that as well as one of my examples, right? So if you've done work with the Yali network, you can find a way to connect it with whatever you're doing or that is consistent with your story, right? But if you haven't, that's no big deal. But I suggest you actually get part of the network. The network is a fantastic opportunity, phenomenal, actually.
All right, thank you so very much, Barrister Timi. Thank you so very much for that answer there. So I'm going to allow Nicholas now. His hand has been up. Nicholas, you have 30 seconds to ask your question. And then I think nobody's asking again. Let me see if I have some more hands up. No. Okay, Nicholas is the only one whose hand is up. Yeah. So if you have your questions within, okay, Nicholas, the floor is yours.
All right. Thank you so much. Quick one. My question is, when it comes to the essay, how brief is too brief? You can have a word count of like 500. That 500 word count, how brief is too brief? Like, what is the minimum we should use within that 500? Can we just write 100 or 200 or 300 or 450? Then secondly, I did not join the call when the document was the link to the document was said. If you can share the document with us again, thank you so much.
Okay, I'm going to call on Mr. Nwanyanwu Kingdom. Are you on the call, sir? Mr. Nwanyanwu Kingdom, are you on the call? Okay, he's not on the call right now. Let me look through another speaker we have here. Okay, Mr. Akachuku, are you on the call with us? Mr. Akachuku. All right, I think he's not the call right now. Okay, so let me give the floor to Mr. Ebenezer. Could you help us attend to that question? Thank you.
Yeah, so Well, that answer is almost hardly here, not there. But if I have an essay with 500 words and someone writes 20 words, for me, I might think you haven't said anything, right? It's always, I feel like the tip is always best to, first of all, respect the word count, because like Esther and Freki had mentioned earlier, there are people who even before you get to the embassy, people who get to review all of these applications that are sent from across the continent. So people move, and they have a lot of applications to review, so they want to move very fast. So respect the word count. Don't write over the word count, but write as sufficient as possible. So if you want to do 500 words, it's fine. I mean, it's always best to keep it somewhere close around 450, 470. I mean, just something that covers everything you want to say. And also, if you said everything, don't start talking round and round again. So like, just say what you have to say and move on, right? Don't keep it too short. Don't keep it too long. Just find that perfect balance in between when you read the essays. Yeah, that's my advice.
Okay, don't keep it too. You have to respect the word count. Respect the word count. That's it. It made that point there. Okay. Mr. Sini, one of our speakers, his hand is up. I think he wants to make a contribution. And before that, Mr. Sini, I'll come to you. Let me give the floor to Mr. Eberichi Kanu, who will be asking his question in 30 seconds. And then maybe, after him, and then his question answered, will come to you. Contribution, sir. I hope you do us that favor. Thank you so very much. But before I come to you, Mr. Eberichi Kanu, I want to read a chat from Mr. Aruna. He said, like Barrister Timi said, when he applied in 2015, he was not a member of Yali. So being a member of Yali is not actually a requirement, but of course, if you're a member, you can cite it as an example of your interest in the program generally. I hope you get out of this response, response here, okay? Especially those that ask question about being a member of Yali. Remember, the people on this call, they are not all members of Yali. It's about you being able to prove your leadership or being able to meet the requirement of the fellowship. And being a member of the network may not really be a core requirement. Okay. All right, thank you so very much. So right now, let's have a very cheap panel. Ask a question. Can you ask a question? 30 seconds, be very brief. I think after that, we'll have Sini as one of our speakers, one of the fellows too. We'll have finally Christian Musa. Yes, Christian Musa will give you the floor, and that will be it. We'll just do a quick summary because we're really behind time. We spent over 2 hours, almost 3 hours now. I know the session is amazing. We're learning, right? But then let's, okay. So, Eberichi Kanu.
Okay. Thank you so much for this session. It's been quite eye-opening. Mine, I want to find out. I just joined the Yali network. I want to find out how to be active in their programs. I understand that it's not really a requirement for the fellowship, but then I still want to be active. So I don't know if you could share some insight that could guide me. Thank you.
Okay, I think I can answer that, not to rest so much on it. I can answer that. You just joined the Yali. You just joined the Yali network recently, and then you want to know how you can be active, right? You want to be an active member.
Yes.
Okay, fine. First of all, being a member, before you join as a member, before you count yourself as a member, one thing I would always tell people is that visit the site, take the courses, or first of all, visit the site, register as a member, right? Maybe you've done that. I'm just coming from that, as a way of starting. Visit it, click that point you see, join network, right? When you join network, you supply all what you need, your interest and all of that. That way you supply your information. That way you'll be receiving mails and updates from them directly. First-hand information from the Yali network. That is one. That is, you take some courses to get those certificates, courses of interest actually. After that, locate your state hub. Which state are you in? Are you in Nigeria? Which state are you in right now? Let me get that.
Okay, I'm in Abuja.
Okay, you're in Abuja. Fine, that's awesome. Abuja has a hub. All the states, right? In the federation, we have the state hubs in the federation, right? So you have to locate locate a hub, the Abuja hub. Then you join the Abuja hub. Okay, join the Abuja state Abuja hub. Actually, in fact, recently they just had a summit. Abuja just had a summit. Yesterday now, they fall as they had a summit, national summit at that. So with them, there are activities they carry out. They carry out projects. They carry out, maybe the project could be maybe word observances. They host their monthly meetup. Let me use Port Harcourt River State Hub as an instance. We have several activities, several events, several programs, several projects, right? Now, every month we do have the monthly meetup, right? Face-to-face meetup where we get to meet, connect with members beyond the online or virtual presence we create. We meet physically and then we share, we talk, we learn. We call it Yali Learn session. This month, August face-to-face meetup was yesterday, 28th of this month. That's every last Saturday of the month. Okay, we talked about the joy of volunteering. We got a guest from outside the even. Sometimes we get out within ourselves to speak to ourselves, and then sometimes we get people from outside to speak. We build our network, create a network, extend our network, beyond the Yali and all of that. They share with us, okay? And then we had just recently also, 13th of August, we commemorated the International Youth Day by going or paying a visit to the Port Harcourt Remand Home. What did we go there to do? We went there to discuss with the children, speak with them on issues of national interest and development and all of that. And then we shared books with them as well. Several other activities. Previously, we marked the Nelson Mandela activity, partnered with Keeping It Real Foundation and all of that. And we did events like that. So how do you become an active member? If you belong to the hub, you have to show up, right? You have to show up for this event as a volunteer, right? Show up for all events or almost all events. That way you're already making yourself relevant and active in the hub. And all of these things, I think you could actually add up to your application. If I'm not wrong, if I'm wrong, please say I can correct it here by our fellow, the past fellows of the Mandela Washington Mandela Washington. So I think that's basically that. So let's connect beyond now. I think I could still connect you with your state hub after now. Maybe reach out to me. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and all of that. My number will be dropping in there. My contact will be dropping in there. So you also connect. I'll connect you with your state, the hub. From there we can move on. Okay. I hope you got that.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Just trying to rush so that we get. So Mr. Sini, Yakubu, you're going to talk to us now. I think you want to make a contribution, I guess. And then after we take Chris and Musa, and that will be it. That will be it. Okay. Yeah. Meanwhile, I want to visit the chat. Somebody had a question. Okay, good. Lady Roslyn said, good networking involves being a good listener. Yeah. Remember, everything is not about you and your achievement. Take time to listen to other people, hear their experiences, and learn from them. Okay. The moment you do that, your network. Please get that. Go to the chat and read that for yourself again. Thank you so very much, Lady Roslyn, for that beautiful piece there. Now, somebody has a question. Ifoluakbo, I hope I got that correctly. Question is, I heard that question 1 must be addressed in third-person pronouns. Yes, third-person pronoun. That is you talking about yourself, social person and all that. So he or she, for instance, Adola is a professional development worker in Nigeria. He has over 2 years experience working with vulnerable. Or can it be approached with I? Now, you heard, it's not just you hearing. I think it is also it's a requirement, or it's like an instruction. You must make it a third person. It must be addressed in third person pronoun. Okay, that is that. I think that question has been answered. Mr. Ifolua, while you're addressing that question, you must use the third person pronoun. Okay, thank you very much. I hope you got that. Question, please. How and where do you locate the state hub? Please, let's connect after now. We'll connect you, okay? We'll connect you. Let's reach out to us. Reach out to me after now. Thank you. Now, another person is asking for the Yali. How do I get started? I reside in Abuja. Okay, to get started, visit www.yali.state.gov. Visit www.yali.state.gov. Okay, that's it. Yeah. Okay. All right. I hope you got that. Yeah, I hope you got that. Now, Lady Esther asked, okay, for first person narratives, question 1 and all the questions should be in first person narrative. Question 1 and all the questions except the biography where you go otherwise. Okay, Lady Esther, can you speak on this briefly? 30, a minute, please. A minute, please. Then we'll go to Mr. Sini Yakubu. Yeah, please just give a direct response to that. Thank you very much.
Okay, I had to comment on that because there was no time. You are addressing them, you're answering those essay questions in first person narrative. You're talking about you, you're selling your story. I am this, I have done that. I was in this, I have impacted so and so, not they have or she has. Esther she has done this and that, she has not. The only time you use this narrative is when you're filling the biography form. Because in that particular one, they would use it for your, on the website, they would have to place your picture just the same way Uche, the same way Uche had to read the biographies of, the little shots of people, other speakers who sent in theirs. They are reading it. This one, you're answering essay questions. And this is also for every other essay question you're answering for any opportunity you're applying for. Try as much as possible to talk in the first person narrative. Simplify it, own the story, make it your own. So you wouldn't be telling me about you and be saying when she was working in so and so, she did so and so, or she hopes to go to the US and learn so and so thing. No, I want to be able to get this. I seek this. I don't know if you guys get. So always answer those questions unless stated otherwise. And I know for MWF, the only place they tell you write in so and so, they even give you an example is when you're filling the biography. Apart from that, as you're answering all those essay questions from essay 1 to 5 and the PDF essays, try as much as possible to talk in the first person narrative. It is you, I, we. If you have to include 1 or 2 people inside. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Lady Esther. I also get to, maybe I hope I don't contradict it now. Where does the we come in? And the teamwork, the teamwork when we want to encourage or when we want to let them know that we are leaders, and then we work in team or in a team. How do we portray that? I think that would mean using at some point we, or I led I led a team of stuff like that.
I led a team of yes, I led a team of, or I and my team.
Okay.
You get, so already from, if you look at question 1, it started by asking you about what you do, why do you do what you do, and your projection in the next 5 or 10 years. So he wants to know about you. From that very instance, you might mention that you work with some people. I lead a team of writers. Where I work, I lead a team of, I'm the editor there, and I lead a team of writers. And when I want to talk about it, I say I'm the editor at ABC. I lead a team of writers at E. You get, that way the person knows you're mentioning you, and at the same time, you're also working with people. But never remove you from the picture, because at the end of the day, you also don't want to blow we, and then we start asking, where is your own personal input in it? We know you're working with a team. We know you're doing some stuff with people, but we also want to see your own personal input inside the team. Every team member has a role to play. So in that team you're working, what is your own role there? So get the team as a body, carve out your own niche from the team, and then talk about what you're doing in the team and how it helps the team to move forward. But if you just carry your team and you're talking about your team, trust me, you're going nowhere. Because at the end of the day, you've not sold yourself. You've not told us what you're doing. You only tell us you're more or less hanging under some people to do some things. So even if you're a cleaner in an office, what is your role in that office? I do this, I do that for the progress of the office. I don't know if it's clear, Uche.
Okay, I think that's clear enough. That's very clear enough. So thank you very much. Thanks so very much for that beautiful response there. And I hope that everyone, apart from even not just, the thing is, all the questions, anybody that's asking a question, not just asking for him or herself, but asking for everybody. We want to get that clarity. I think that extends to everyone on the call. So I hope you get that. Yeah, the person that asked the question. Yeah, and then you also, somebody requested that we drop the Yali site and all that. It's on the call there too. So on the chat, so you kindly do that to visit it after now. And I was like, okay, so let's give this time to Mr. Sini, Yakubu, and then less than 20 minutes, I think we want to be out of. Speak to us 2 minutes. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you so much. So let me just start with what Esther just said. So, you know, the concept of using we usually comes when you are dealing with business in a situation whereby you are looking for something like grant or loan. So you know that like companies or investors would not like to invest in a company that is just I. So usually they prefer the term we because you are talking as a team. So even if they're going to hold you responsible, it's not just you, but it's a team that they're going to hold responsible. So that's where the use of we is usually very, very strong. But as in the case of applications like these, or even if you're applying for like scholarship, it's usually you are talking about yourself. But as you said, usually you don't operate in a vacuum. You don't operate alone, rather. So you will definitely have people around you. But even as you talk about your team, you must be able to present it very strong about the contribution that you're doing, you know, in that team. So that's one. And I know that a lot of people that have been talking are either in public service space or in civic leadership space, but I know there are some people that are also doing business that are also applying for this. They apply under the business and entrepreneurship track. And that's why I just want to give us a little bit hint about how that one works. So you know that there is always a temptation for you to talk about maybe the money you're making, how big your business is, you know, how your turnover and stuff like that. But that's not what MWF is actually looking for. MWF is looking for what you are trying to solve with that business that you are doing, the problem that you're trying to solve, the social problem you're trying to solve. So I remember, you know, at the time that I went for my own, you know, I was just starting my business. I was not having any much turnover, but I got selected alongside people that were having like 200 million. I know my friend, you know, Usman, that is like, he has over like 200 million turnover in his business. And we went together, you understand? And I was just starting my own business at that time. But one thing that, you know, that stood out is the fact that you are able to talk about the problem, the social problem you're trying to solve through your business. Because if you don't convince your reader in that aspect, you will not get selected. So it will not be bad for you to talk about the sustainable development goal that you're trying to address, you know, through your business, and not just you now making the profit. That's where the we come. The problem, let me say, the change that you are trying to make in the life of people through your business. I know that as the first speaker said, there are a lot of us that are doing a lot of things, you know, aside maybe the business. And that's why the first thing that comes, usually what I do is that when I see this kind of thing, I try to create my essay in my mind first before I start typing. I try to create my story in my mind. Maybe I can take a week to create that story in my mind before I start typing. And when I start typing, you find out that everything flows easily and you just rush it on time. So in that kind of thing, let's assume maybe you are having a business and you're also doing maybe like a civic work, maybe you have a foundation. It is at this time that you decide on which one to go. Assume I choose to talk about that foundation. The only way that my business will come into place is maybe if that business is contributing a certain percentage to the work that I'm doing with my foundation. And that is why, you know, that my business is going to come. But if there's no that linkage, as the first speaker said, you don't need to talk about it. And if you have chosen to speak about your business, then you can just maybe you can talk about your foundation a little bit. That is social contribution of your business to your foundation. So you must be able to differentiate these two things if you are applying like that, because there's always that temptation for you to say a lot, you know, from what you're doing with your business. So the reader might get confused. Are you actually doing business or you are actually doing civic? So you should be able to establish that if you are supporting any foundation, let it be that you have to set it very strong that through my business, my social contribution to my community is, then you can talk a little bit about that, your foundation, but you should be able to establish very well what problem you are trying to solve, you know, with your business. Okay, you are trying to impact youth, reducing their vulnerability to being influenced into bad habit, or creating opportunities, job opportunities for you to develop their skill for them to establish their business. And you can talk about if there are instances that maybe you have helped others to establish their business, and you talk about, as Esther said, you talk about what they are currently doing, not just, you know, the numbers, as Esther said. Even if it is one person that you are able to impact and the person now runs a business and he has a location and stuff like that. So these are the kind of values, the information that you need to state, you know, in the business entrepreneurship club, because a lot of time people will go and be talking about the money that they are making and stuff like that, and it will not fly. Thank you. Over.
All right.
Hello, did you get me?
Thank you so very much, Mr. Sini, Yakubu. Amazing thoughts you shared there. So I hope everyone, you get to know when you use the we, you get to know when you use the I, you get to know when you use the he or she, and then you get to know where you have to even mention the name, John Best, Uche, and all of that, okay? That's right. Okay. I think, okay, right about now, Mr. Wisdom, Nwanyanwu came online. I think he's having issues with his network there.
Okay, I'm here now.
Oh man, okay, he's here. Mr. Musa, can you unmute yourself and in 30 seconds, ask your question. Aruna, Mr. Aruna Kallon, you will help attend to the question, okay? Thank you so very much.
Okay, thank you so much for the different contributions, and it was really enlightening. It's just a brief comment. In case we slide into their DMs, that's the facilitators, please, they should be willing to offer mentorship. That's all I want to say.
Okay, you want to know?
In case we slide into
facilitators, if the speakers will be willing to offer
mentorship throughout the period of application.
Or throughout the period of the application. Okay, let me ask now. Barrister Timi, Olagunju, Mr. Aruna Kallon, Mr. Ebenezer Wikina, Mr. Nwanyanwu Kingdom is here now. Yes, Lady Esther, Mark, Lady Rosalie, Tachiti, Dr. Uchoma, Mr. Akachuku, I'm mentioning all our speakers now, Mr. Sini, Yakubu, and all our speakers. Please, would you oblige to mentor, like he has said, would you oblige to mentor him? I think I will allow him to approach. Okay, so Christian Musa, this is what you do. They've dropped their handles, okay? So go visit them, okay? Politely approach them, okay? Politely.
Thank you.
Is that okay by you?
Yes,
so,
sir.
Respect you get, I think that will be fine. And I hope and trust and believe and I'm certain that I'm going to be there for you. And that's one of the essences, or one of the importance, or one of the relevance, one of the benefits you get from attending this call, you know. I think now it's like talking about that. So kindly approach them politely, okay? Approach them politely, and then agree to any terms given and all of that. I think that's it for now. Mr. Wisdom, Mr. Kingdom, Nwanyanwu from Port Harcourt, Nigeria. Kindly share with us 3 minutes. Like we understand that your network has been fluctuating and all of that. So within a short while, like 3-5 minutes, would you mind sharing with us anything? Contribution? You're supposed to speak to us here. Yes, well, there was a time we called that you answered some questions, but your network was
okay. Thank you so much. I just want to narrate this experience. Sometime last year, we as Obama leaders had an issue. So we had an award to give to people who were teachers who were exemplary under this COVID-19 regime. So at the end of the day, we had 3 best teachers selected. I happened to be in the selection committee, and we eventually rewarded one person and gave the person a 2nd position, and then the other one a 3rd position. About a week later, we had a meeting with Barack Obama himself, and we presented the awards to him and told him that this is the person we gave the award. And he said something. There were 2 people. The person that came first, I guess you can hear me.
Yeah, we can hear you. We can hear you.
The person that came first was a woman that would carry her baby on the back, that would back her baby under the rain, went from house to house to distribute writing material to her students with her own salary. And at the end of the day, we considered the sacrifices she made, and we rewarded her with the 1st position. While the 2nd person used technology to set up a system where the students could learn from their homes. Now, when we asked Obama himself, whom would you reward ordinarily? And he asked us, whom did you reward? We told him the person we rewarded. He said, well, you are probably right. However, he gave this illustration. He said, Suppose there is a bridge that fell down and people in the community were falling inside the river each time they wanted to cross the bridge. And one man volunteered, left everything he was doing, went inside the river and was bringing out people. Anybody that falls in, he will rescue the person, bring the person out. The person makes a lot of sacrifices. Not so, we said yes. He now said, what if another person comes, use technology and produce another bridge so that people will pass without falling in? That the person who solved the problem once and for all was the person that deserved the reward, not the level of sacrifices you have made, but the level of innovation. I'm saying this because of our prospective applicants. Whatever you are doing, highlight not just the level of sacrifices you have made, highlight the innovation you have put into it. America is looking for leaders, not followers. So be a leader in that small corner of that your office. Be a leader. You must not own the organization, but be a leader. Now, suppose you are a cleaner. Let's say you work with a cleaning company and your company goes to school to clean school environment. When you're writing your application, don't just make it that you are a cleaner, you're cleaning the environment, that's what you're working. No, turn that your work to a solution. Why are you cleaning? Like Mr. Timi asked us, use 2-3 words to describe yourself. I say I'm a disability rights activist. Somebody else will tell you this, what are you known for? Okay, I'm a cleaner. Why are you cleaning? I'm cleaning because we have discovered that there are so many diseases, children, particularly those in nursery school, can contract and die as a result of that. That was why we went into this field to ensure that school premises where the children play without control or where the children touch everywhere is clean to keep the future of Nigeria alive and healthy. You are not telling somebody that you're not just a cleaner, but you're solving the problem of health for children at the same time saving the country. So when you are crafting your application, whatever you're doing, don't write it as if it is your work alone. Put it as a solution and think of innovative methods you can apply to that work. And when you do that, I can assure you that the work will not just be a work, it will not just be a sacrifice, it will be innovation with solution. It gives you an edge. I think my 3 minutes is up now. Thank you.
Wow. Oh my. Oh my. Please do what we need to do. Hello, unmute your device. Unmute your devices. All right, thank you so very much, Mr. Kingdom Nwanyanwu is doing amazing here. He just led the cleanup project in the south, that is particularly here in River State, alongside other members of the Yali network and RLC fellows and all of that. Okay, amazing. Think of while you're putting up your application, think solution, add the solution you're actually adding to the community or the solution you're giving actually. So add all of that, put that into consideration. I think that's it for now. So I'm going to we're just going to wrap up everything right now. We're going to wrap up everything right now. Now the question, Mr. If the speakers will be willing or ready to mentor anybody or mentor him or all of us here, we've got the speakers saying yes. They are sure. Mr. Wisdom, Mr. Kingdom Nwanyanwu said, sure, we will be there for you guys. Yeah, he'll be there for us. And then Lady Roselyn Sachiti said, yes, sure, she can mentor. And then, Mr. Aruna Kallon also said, feel free to reach out. Like I said, feel free to reach out. So the links and the contacts are there in the chat. So kindly scroll up to see his contacts so you reach out to him. So very, very important. Now, thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone, for attending this call. I just want to wrap up. Want to have Barrister Timi give his last word. Mr. Kallon Aruna give his last words. We'll start with Barrister Timi and then Mr. Kallon, Mr. Ebenezer Wikina, Mr. Lady Esther, please, you're going to give your last words as well. Then Lady Roselyn Sachiti, you're going to give your last words. You're going to give your last words as well. Then Mr. Sini, Yakubu, you give your last words. Like that. Dr. Uchoma, I hope you're still around here. You're going to give your last word as well. I've not heard from Mr. Akachuku Okafu. I think he's busy actually, or network actually acting up probably. Yes, so he's going to give his last words too. So let's start with Barrister Timi. Yes, in 1 minute. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you so much. I would just want to say that, Yali Port Harcourt is doing a phenomenal work and is quite commendable. And we hope to see more of that light shine cross board. And thank you for your leadership and for the speakers as well who have taken out time to sacrifice. I think for the person asking the question about mentorship, the fact that this has even happened today is enough evidence to show the start of some mentorship of some point. So thank you so much. I posted an article written by a friend about the Mandela Washington Fellowship application on the chats. I hope you can save it and also use that to support all the wonderful things you've learned here today. Thank you so much, everyone. God bless you.
Thank you so very much. Thank you so very much. Thank you so much. Please, we're still going to do, a final kind of, how do I put it now? Like the final shout out, like where everybody will just unmute and unmute our videos, unmute our audio and audio device and all of that to shout out. So let's not do that now. Thank you. So Lady Rosalie Sachiti, your last words. Yeah. The last word.
Well, okay, thanks, John. Thanks, everyone, for listening to everything that we said. Now the honors is on you to take.
Oh, no, she's gone.
Pick up the opportunity that has come. Please on time. You and
Oh, no, she's unmuted herself. Oh, she's muted herself. Okay, she's muted herself. Okay, thank you so very much, Lady Rosalie Sachiti. I hope you have her contact already. Her handles are already on the chat. So kindly visit the charts session now to get her handles to follow her as well. So you get more details. Anything you will get again. Okay, that's it. All right. Let's have Mr. Sini Yakubu. His last words. Thank you. Mr. Sini Yakubu, are you on? Oh, no. Okay, Mr. Sini Yakubu is not here. Okay, let's have Lady Esther Mark. Your last words here. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Uche. You've done an amazing job this evening. And to the rest of the house, I want to say, fear not. Even before you begin your application, fear not. Go with this confidence that it is a learning curve for you. I always encourage people to apply for things, not just because they stand to benefit from it, but because it's also a path for them to understand who they really are, gain clarity about themselves, and know what they want out of life. One thing you would understand at the end of this whole exercise, by the time you've applied and all it will give you a certain roadmap for where you're headed, where you're coming from, where you're headed, and what next you want to do with your life. So go with that full confidence that you're trying something good and it would end, like we say, to end in praise. And then one more thing, I don't think anybody mentioned it, but I think it's somehow important. We're in a digital world. People that applied in 2014, what name should I give it now? The circumstances surrounding the application in 2014 would never be the same with 2021. The world has moved digital. Everybody wants to see your footprint online. So it may not be your personal Facebook page. There should be some form of digital footprint for you online that if somebody Googles what you're trying to do or what you're telling the person about, he should be able to see some track record there. So it mustn't be your Facebook page. It could be a website. It could be anything, but just make sure that as you are applying, you also have some sort of record somewhere online that will be easy for the person. Sometimes when I read applications, I've read applications for years. One of the things I do is if I'm doubting your story, I just go online to see what you're doing. And sometimes it's not like the person might not have been doing anything. but you may not be able to find any simple thing online. Remember, I told you guys when I was during my interview, right there in my presence, the interviewer, not even a Nigerian, was busy trying to check out. So that should give you an idea too. Make sure your digital footprints are clear. It may not be your Facebook page. It may not be your LinkedIn page. It may
We lost her there. Sure. Hello. Okay, we lost her there. Thank you so very much, Lady Esther, for that amazing thoughts there. You know, so your presence online and then beyond Facebook, beyond LinkedIn, beyond Twitter, beyond Instagram, your presence online, say create, is it dish page or is that dish something like that? Create it. You cannot you have so much money to create a website or maintain a website. Yeah, WordPress and all that still works it out. Even your Google Drive, drop detailed stuff about yourself, and then maybe your LinkedIn links to it you can share too. That's it. Okay, let's have Mr. Aruna Kallon share his. Thank you so very much.
Oh, thank you very much, Uche, and this has been a wonderful session, and it's a good thing that we all came together. And I think quickly, I just would want to point out that I see in the chat that people are kind of trying to get access to the materials again, or the links that we share. So I wanted to maybe plead with you, if you can make that possible for them. I think it's hard. So one experience I've got, sometimes depending on the device you're using, it will be hard for you to get things from the chat and save it somewhere, especially for some people who may be using their phones. So maybe one thing you may do, if you are able to copy most of these links and put it either in the social media platforms and which people can access easily, that would be helpful. Or in your own way, I mean, whichever way you easily contact people or people contact you. So that will help. And also the other thing I wanted to point out quick is one thing that I noted, I think most or all of us, the speakers, one thing that came out is that most of us have been readers, and a lot of people pointed out that they have been readers, I mean, of these applications. So I think one thing everyone should take note of is that, like when you're talking about reaching out to people for mentorship, I think that's one of the things you should keep in mind. It's not like if someone has been a reader, it's not as if they are going to do any magic for you to get involved. What that means is they will be able to talk to you from the point of view of a reader, from the point of view of what is expected of you, because anybody who is marking these scripts, you have rubrics that you go through. So these ones guide you and they tell you what will you be looking for. So if you, now that you have a platform where you've been able to interact with such people, it's an opportunity that you should grab. If you're able to reach out to any of us, and one of the things you should be looking at is really your application, because that's the stage you are now, how to work on it very hard. I mean, once you get past that stage, you can talk to us about some other thing, you know, but make sure you dwell more on the stage that you are right now, because you're trying to get in. So that's something you should keep in mind. So you have that only to say you've had this opportunity to have people talk to people, or have people talk to you who have actually been looking at these scripts. So it's a good thing that you were here. So I just want to encourage everyone that this is something you deserve. Just put in your effort, be serious about your application. It's not magic. It's also not designed to keep people out. It's designed to get you in, but it is so highly competitive that the only way you're going to stand out is when you put in your best. For example, I mean, you realize that, like, somebody I think asked this question at some point, whether all the applications actually get selected for interview. I don't think that is true. No, they don't. It's actually during the reading and the marking or the scoring, there is a certain threshold that certain applications should reach before they get to the interview, the semifinal. So once you get there, so that's why the application is where you put in your best. So it's not all the applications. So, and also you may see a lot of people may be qualified, like you're doing very, very good stuff. Your application is impressive. What you've done is impressive, but maybe there are also thousands of people who are equally impressive. So sometimes they will have to look at other things. If you and this person come head to head, they have to look at a few things. like Esther indicated also, in this day and age, the digital presence is okay, it's nice, it's good, your social media, and it's not only for you to have it, to be present online. Also watch what you do online. Because for example, if people go and look you up, like if you go and look me up now on Facebook, everything you see that I post, that's going to be, you are going to use that to define me. You're going to know what sort of person I am by what I am posting on Facebook or what I'm posting on Instagram, what I'm sharing. So you too should think about that. That when, for example, if the people who are reading they go up, they go and look you up, are you someone who is just sharing videos of dogs fighting? Is that all you do on Facebook? Or are you interested in just sharing videos of people fighting in the street? Are you posting or following or sharing things which are related to what you do, what you believe in, or what can change people's life? Are you interested in that as well? Of course, it's good to have fun, but is that all you do? Like, is it? So these are things which you, once you think about the social media presence, also think about what content you engage in on social media, because that also goes a long way in defining who you are. If, for example, you and somebody tied, and then we want to check how to break that tie, maybe we'll look at your social media platform and see. You never know, all of that could help, which is not in the application, but it could help. So thank you very much, and this is a wonderful opportunity. We are out here, reach out anytime.
Oh, wow, amazing. Thank you so very much. And again, he just confirmed that you could always reach out anytime, okay? Like I would always say, while reaching out, you just have to be courteous. That's I'm talking to a participant now. We just have to be courteous. Sometimes it's very, 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 very unfortunate that when we are given opportunities like this, some of us try to use them and all of that, but I'm craving our indulgence to actually be polite and be nice and ready and willing to adapt to or accept terms when we reach out to the speakers, okay? I think that way we would have a better experience, a mentorship or mentoring experience. Yeah, thank you so very much once again, Mr. Aruna Kallon. Okay, let's have Lady Ndifreke, Andrew-Essien. Are you on the line? Are you on the call still with us? Lady Ndifreke, Andrew-Essien, are you still on the call? Okay, you're not on the call. She's not on the call right now. Let's have Lady Uchoma. Yes, I want to take a lady and come back to a man, a male. Yeah. So Lady Uchoma, are you on the call? No, Dr. Uchoma is not on the call. Okay, so I think I'm free to take Mr. Kingdom Nwanyanwu, please. Mr. Kingdom Nwanyanwu, your last word in a minute. Thank you. He's not on the call. I think his network is acting up here. Okay, Mr. Ebenezer Wikina is still on the call.
I'm here now. I'm here. I wanted to mute.
Okay, your last word.
Back again because I'm logged out. Okay. My wonderful colleagues have made so many wonderful points, and in all humility, I must admit that since I was off and on, I can't say what and what have been covered. But I trust that the men and women, the fellows that spoke, are really seasoned fellows. So almost every point has been covered. And if we keep talking and talking and talking, at the end of the day, information overload might start worrying our applicants. Just as now that they want to do a follow-up mentorship or a follow-up coaching, feel free. I think any fellow that can make time for this meeting should be able to also make time for you. We wish you the best, and we trust that even if you have checked yourself and discovered that, yes, I don't have enough track record, don't stop applying, still apply. But by the time you have gathered all those small ideas and small experience and put them together and apply, start working on yourself so that if you don't get it this year, next year, your track record would have been better and stronger. All the best.
All right, thank you so very much, Mr. King Nwanyanwu, for that beautiful one there. So, Mr. Ebenezer Wikina, kindly give us the last words. Is he on the call? He's off the call already. He's off the call. Okay, is Mr. Akachuku, are you on? No, he's not on. I think that will be it. That will be it. That will be it. That will be it. Mrs. Olorufumi was supposed to be my co-host. I think something must have happened. Something must have happened, fortunately, and all of that. But I believe she would have actually loved to be on the call, but maybe something happened, network and all of that, all of that. Yeah. So we appreciate all of you. I think that'll be it. Okay. On behalf of the Yali Network River State Hub and other members of the Regional Leadership Center, Accra, West Africa, Accra, which I actually belong. I'm actually an RLC fellow, alumnus here. I want to sincerely appreciate all our speakers for tonight. You've done noble, you've done amazing, you've done awesome, you've done so well to have actually lent us this your time like I intended. In fact, I could remember telling Mr. Aruna Kallon that we were going to spend maximum of 2 hours on this call, but I just discovered that we've exceeded. Like we've spent about 3 hours 15 minutes on this call. I'm so sorry for taking so much of our time, but I also do understand, or I feel and think that the time spent is not a wasted one at that. It's not a wasted one at that. I believe all the participants, intending applicants for this Mandela Washington Fellowship, they've got a lot, like myself, I've got a lot, and I'm not going to reach out to the fellows, the speakers. I'm going to reach out to the speakers. So let me also make it clear. Let me also make it loud that, oh my, Mr. Barrister Timi, Mr. Aruna, Lady Roslyn Sachi, Lady Esther Mark, Mr. Nwanyanwu Kingdom, Mr. Akachuku, Lady Ndifreke, Andrew-Essien, Mr. Dr. Omaha, then Mr. Ebenezer Wikina. I'm going to disturb you. Please accept me whenever I come to your DM, whenever I call. I disturb a lot. But I don't disturb for nothing. Yeah, I disturb to get the value and all that. So I hope you obliged to take me through the process. Thank you so very much for the amazing thoughts you shared with us. We sincerely appreciate you. Thank you so much. And I hope that the week is going to be a pleasant one. I wish all of us a pleasant week ahead, a pleasant new week at that. Thank you so very much. So right about now, let us unmute our devices. Let's unmute our devices. Yeah. So for some that are not Yali members, I think I've shared the site for us to join. www.yali.state.gov. Visit that site and then get to take some courses, join the network to get first-hand information from Yali network, and then connect with your state hubs, connect with your hubs, yeah? So for some participants that do not know their state hubs, and that you can still connect with me, I'll relate to with members of the hub, or state coordinators of your hubs, actually. All right, let's unmute our devices right now and then give some shout outs. What do we form now? Yali. Let somebody construct something now that we kind of slogan for Yali. We're going to do that for us. Let somebody say something. Okay. First of all the participants are muted. Let's do that. Let's all our speakers. Yeah? So mute yourself right now. 1 to go. Okay. Are we doing that now? 1 to go. Ready. Who's that? For all the participants, you did not disturb us. I see that you got value from this call, and amazing. So thank you so very much.
Thank you, everyone.
Let's connect beyond this. I wouldn't mind reaching out, connecting with you on the call. Yeah. So let's connect, everyone. Okay. Let's connect. So, Mr. Kallon, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. It's over. Wow.
Africa, I believe in Africa. I believe in Africa. I believe in you. I believe in Africa. I believe in Africa. I believe in Africa. I believe in you. Yeah. If we fall, we will rise again. Like the stars, we will shine again. We may cry, but we'll smile again. Africa will rise again. Yes, you can. Yes, I will. Fight my way through the storm. Yes, I can. Yes, I will. With the children of the future. Yes, I can. Yes, I will. It's your time to take control. Take control. What are you waiting for? Mama, mama, mama. We made it. We made it. Mama, mama, mama. We made it. We made it. Mama, mama, mama. We made it. We made it. In Africa, I believe in Africa. I believe in Africa.